because I'm smart like that. Because I realize that that's going to sound terrible. I have to adjust some windows on my screen here. Okay, welcome to the stream, 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 welcome to Saturday night. Higurashi things. I'll actually hit the loading up of the game early tonight. Look at that. I'm doing it so quick. No chit, no chatting. Right into it. Seems I missed the summertime change. It's an hour later for me. We only have time changes in the spring and in the fall, and it's the spring one happened a few weeks back. Nothing new. So let's fucking talk about what happened on Tuesday's stream with this. One section done. It was the let's go into the creepy. I'm doing this with my eyes closed here, as I recall. Let's go into the weird storage shed house thing that houses the instruments of this I'm searching for the term I want to use because torture doesn't seem 100% right, but something along those lines. Yeah, let's go into there with we were pulled into there with Shion, who, if you ask her, she is infinitely times better than her sister Mion. She pulls Kechi into there, unaware. I'm pretty sure the way it shook out was that they snuck her out. She wanted to sneak out with him. But I mean, it's possible, but I don't know if I missed it or I'm assuming this. But when she first pulled him into the out of the dance part of the festival thing going on. I don't think she had actually found Takano and Toмотake. I don't think that was their original intention. Although if I'm wrong, I can be corrected. But because I'm getting ahead of myself. So he's trying to get a good view of the fucking dancing that Rika is doing. He then sees Shion motioning to him to come over. He thinks, oh, it's going to be a good spot to go watch the dance. They get further and further away. They end up meeting Toмотake and Takano. They're all like weirdly, the adults in the situation weirdly are like, let's break in and enter into this thing that we're definitely clearly not supposed to. They're all complicit. Tomotake's complicit. Kechi's complicit. And so then he goes, Toмотake, though, has, like, second doubts, and he's like, I'm just gonna hang out here, because if we get in trouble, this is gonna be my easiest way of not getting in trouble. That's basically how I took it, which is honestly fair by him. Honestly, he needs to stop hanging around Toмотake. But I digress. So Toмотake, blonde-haired lady, Kechi, Shion, go in, and basically it was a long stretch of just Takano explaining, going on basically like a prolonged ghost story. I mean, I hate to boil it down to something like that, but it's kind of what it was, honestly. Some questions going back and forth, them being, the kids in the situation obviously being a bit creeped out by at some point. So much so that then it's later on revealed that Shion, when Shion and Kechi were by themselves, she goes, did you hear that, like, stomping noise or whatever? And he's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, that's that stomping noise. That was very clear and everyone heard. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? To the point where they're like fighting. They're like starting to fight over the obviousness or non-obviousness of a sound being heard by apparently Shion. So much so that it went back and forth. And I think out of like embarrassment or her just wanting to drop it, or out of like, she's whatever. She's like, oh, never mind, I'm just joking. And I was like, no, she's not just joking. That's clearly she just wants to drop it at this point. But it feels like that's how I read the situation. And he's like, okay, great. And then they get away from that situation. Then they go to the river or whatever. They're doing the releasing of the cotton thing, futon cotton. In the river thing, meets back up with the rest of his friend group. I think he lies and says like, oh yeah, I totally saw the dance. And then they were like, really, Ketchy? And he's like, yeah, totally. And they're like, okay, we'll believe you. But again, I don't think anyone believes him. I think they know that he somehow was a shitty friend. I think this boils down to Ketchy on multiple fronts is a shitty friend. I hate to say it, but my guy is not one of the best of friends in this friend group, in my opinion. IMO. So he lies and he says, oh yeah, I just had to, yeah, it sucks that we were all apart from each other, because they all said, oh, we were apart, we should really try to stick together during the thing, and yada, yada, yada. They not force him, but they're like, hey, did you do the cotton thing yet at the river? And he was like, no, I haven't done it yet. And she's like, go fucking do it. And he's like, okay, I'm sorry, I'll do it. So there was that. But I think the big part was the sound thing, the fact that they went into there in the first place, the group of 4 that actually went in there I think is important. I think coming back and Ketchy not being honest about the situation and trying to hide it from them, and also kind of sort of lying indirectly, saying he saw the dance with Rika that she did. Those are the bullet points I think were important to Tuesday's stream. And with that, the best of recaps that I can do. I'll say in advance, my mind has felt quite all over the place today. So I don't know if it came across as the recap was going on, but I apologize for the next few or several hours as I battle my own mind here. See if I can stay on topic. I thought there was going to be a better word I could put there, but there's not. Into chapter 8 of chapter 2, Watsunagashi. Oh, I'm pointing to a thing you can't see. Let us go. I assume this is the next day in the game. I let out a great big yawn. It was like morning had arrived just as I got to sleep. As Mom set up breakfast, she gave me a pained smile.
どうしたの、ケイチ?
Put that up a bit. Okay. What's the matter, Kichi?
昨夜は何時に寝たの?
What time did you go to sleep last night?
12時には寝たつもりだけど、昨日はなんだか寝つきが悪くてさ。
Well, I wanted to go to sleep at midnight, but I had some trouble with that.
お祭りではしゃぎすぎて興奮して眠れなかったんでしょ.
You were probably all worked up from the festival. And I've established this before. I hate Ketchy's parents. On the list of sketchy people in this whole game, they're pretty high up there. They're not number 1, but I would say they're definitely in the top half of the single digits.
違うよ.
Just thought I'd add some context to that. Oh shit, I talked over the crunching noises. That's upsetting. Let's hear that again.
違うよ.
Actually, I changed my mind. I don't like those crunching noises. That was actually really bad. That was a displeasure to listen to for a second time. No, that's not it. Mine weren't much better. I crunched down hard on the pickled radish to hide my embarrassment. After all that happened yesterday, and our discussion about the sound Shion heard, that banging noise like a child far away, jumping up and down on a wooden floor, the story wouldn't get out of my head, so I had trouble sleeping. It was a long night, and I kept jumping at the slight sounds of faraway tree branches, which should have been either unhearable or too insignificant to notice. When I woke up in the morning sunlight and birds chirping, made me feel pretty ashamed about it, but I felt far from refreshed this morning.
Keiichi-kun! Ohayo!
Keiichi-kun, good morning!
あれ
Sorry, just keep adjusting the audio by the slightest of margins. Huh?
ケイチ君目が真っ赤だよ。
Keiichi-kun, your eyes are all red.
どうしてだろう
Why is that? Why?
おはよ
Oh, hey, good morning.
う。どういうわけか寝つきが悪くてな。
I didn't get much sleep last night,
そんなわけで今日は寝不足だ。
so I'm sleep deprived today.
昨日のお祭りは楽しかったね。
The festival yesterday was a lot of fun.
レナも興奮がなかなか冷めなくてなかなか寝れなかったんだよ。
Rina's excitement took a long time to go to sleep, so I took a long time to go to sleep too, to sleep. In Rina's case, her excitement seemed to still be wide awake.
こういうお祭りが何度もあればいいのにね。
They should have this kind of festival more often,
またみんなで大盛り上がり。はう
so we can have lots of fun together again. How?
まあそうだな。
Yeah. Rina talking about the festival yesterday made me remember everything I'd nearly forgotten from last night. Flashback, flashback, flashback. The inside of the ritual storehouse had been so utterly different from the relaxed, bright, everyday life of Hinamizawa. All those stories that Takano-san told me, too. The mysterious incidents that occurred on the day of the Wada Nagashi festival every year. The strange incidents where one person would die and one would disappear. The old stories of Hinamizawa flickering like a candle behind them. The numerous and horrifying traditions of Onikafuchi village. The villagers with demon blood in them. The terrible cannibalistic feats. Oh yeah, there was the cannibal demon blood people, yeah. There were small details about the stories that I kind of glossed over, but that was like part of the whole ghost story thing I mentioned. Terrible cannibalistic feasts. The poor sacrifices kidnapped from human villages, victims of the Onikakushi. To quell the rage of Oyashiro-sama, the ritual involving living sacrifices, there were also many, many others. There were many more stories. There were so many stories that just remembering them put me in a foul mood. Most of them weren't fiction either. They were true. We didn't need to fear them just because they were real, though, since it all happened so long ago. Such a very long time ago.
みーちゃん遅いね。
Where's Mi-chan? She's late. Huh? Before I realized it, we had arrived at the place where we'd usually meet with Mion. Probably because I was so lost in thought.
この時間になっても来ないときは先に行ってもいい約束になってるんだけど。
We agreed that if she isn't here by now, we can just go on ahead, right?
どうする？
Should we? Mion being late wasn't too rare an occurrence, but today she was unusually late. A few of the ominous tales from the night before came back to life in my mind again. Who would die this year, and who would disappear? It couldn't have been Mion.
どうするかな、ケイチ君。も
What should we do, Kechi-kun?
う行かないと遅刻になっちゃうかも。
If we don't get going, we'll be late.
来るよ。
She'll be here.
学校休むって電話があったわけじゃないだろ。
She didn't call us to tell us she'd be staying home today, right?
もう5分待ってみようぜ。
Let's just wait 5 more minutes, okay? Rina looked at her watch and seemed a little worried, but then she nodded with a satisfied smile. If we had to wait 5 minutes, we'd have to run as fast as we could to school or we'd be late. As soon as I thought that, we spotted Mion running towards us out of breath.
みーちゃん
Mi-chan!
遅い遅い
You're late! Bah! Bah! Bah!
待っててくれたわけ
You waited?
先に行っちゃってもよかったのに
You should have just gone on ahead. Mion was breathing heavily and her face was all red. Our house was right down this road, wasn't it? Wasn't far enough for her to end up like this, was it? Oh, something weird?
みーちゃんひょっとして具合悪くない
Mi-chan, are you not feeling well? Huh? Now that she mentioned it. Rina pushed Mion's bangs away and put her hand to her forehead.
レナの手冷たいな
Rina, your hand is pretty cold.
みーちゃんちょっとだけど熱あるよ
Mi-chan, you're a little bit warm.
そんな大したことないよ
That's no big deal.
半日もすればケロッと治っちゃうって
Give it half a day and I'll be fit as a fiddle.
本当に大丈夫かよ。
Are you really okay?
あまり無理するなよ。
You don't have to push yourself, you know?
あれ
What's this?
ケイちゃん気遣ってくれるの
Ki-chan, are you worried about me?
嬉しいな
That's nice of you. That answer wasn't like Mion at all. She must have had it pretty bad.
無理しない方がいいと思うな
I just think you shouldn't push yourself so hard.
先生にはお休みだって伝えとくよ
We can tell the teacher you had to take the day off.
大丈夫大丈夫
I'm fine, I'm fine.
風邪薬も飲んだし
I took some medicine.
すぐに効いてくると思うから
I think it's already working. Mion forced an energetic expression onto her face and flexed her biceps at us.
じゃあ行こうか。
Okay, then let's go.
くれぐれも無理するなよ。って言いながら
Don't overdo it, but of course there's
時間。
the time.
走らないと間に合わない
Ooh, we need to run or we won't make it. Oh, the one thing that went towards the end of the Tuesday stream where there was like the Ketchy made that slip where it was like, oh, you didn't make any mistakes kind of thing, and she clearly made some kind of mistake during the dancing thing, and I was like, oh, this is bad, Ketchy. I think they tried to spin it as like, oh, see, the mistake you made wasn't even that bad. But I think it really solidified and gave away that he was not there. However bad the mistake was. It must have been bad enough for him being like, oh, you didn't make a mistake. For them to be like, huh? And what's probably worse is, unless he tells them... See, the thing is, he was told he's not supposed to say any... I could totally see this go in this certain direction, right? He was told, hey, don't say that we went to that thing, right? But there's a good chance that someone there saw him sneak off with Shion. So, if that gets brought up, or that was seen, and they're like, hey, Ketchy, we saw you sneaking off with Shion, and then you disappeared, and you didn't see the dancing thing that Rika worked so hard on doing. What the fuck were you doing with Shion? He's in a hard spot because he, depending on where his alliances lie, he would not be able to tell, or wouldn't want to tell them about them sneaking into that warehouse thing, storage house. But also, I would doubt he probably would want to stick with the story that, yeah, me and Shion just fucking went to go sneak into some bush or something. I don't know. I could totally see the story doing something like that. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Mion says, or doesn't say anything, just laughs at us.
スリリングな朝になっちゃったね
This morning sure is thrilling.
鈍った体にはちょうどいいカツかもね
Maybe it's just what I need to shake off this slowness.
走ろ
Let's run. Hey, wait, you're sick. Don't go overboard. Mion began to run vigorously anyway.
みーちゃんだって最上級生だよ
Mi-chan is older than us, right?
自分の体のことは自分で一番よくわかってるよ
She knows her own body better than anyone. Decided to leave it at that and assume she was fine.
よし、俺たちも行こうぜ。
Great, then we should get going too. We began to run after Mion. The school looked the same as always. The hours passed listlessly, and my lack of sleep took its toll. If there was a sport that people competed by sleeping, I'd be world champion right now. The trick to overcoming this sort of dangerous situation was to hold your pencil upside down. Why, you ask? So you don't draw strange patterns all over your notes while half asleep. If you were holding your pencil upside down, that wouldn't happen, wouldn't it? Bump, bump, bump. Bump, bump, bump. Something that felt like an eraser hit me in the head 6 times. Ow, ow. What was that for, Satoko?
私は何もしてないでございますわ。
I haven't done a single thing.
お前以外にこんないたずら誰がするんだよ。
Who else would play a prank on me like this?
さあ、消しゴムじゃなくてチョークか。
Oh, it was chalk, not an eraser.
え?
Huh? The shady teacher. She's not as high on the list as Ketchy's parents. But I'd say she's like low single digits of sketchy characters. Behind me, like a female outlaw might hold razors, was the teacher's shadow, holding 3 pieces of chalk in each hand. Rumble, rumble, rumble.
前原くん、
Maibara-kun,
お顔を洗ってらっしゃい。
go and wash your face.
はい。喜んで。
Right, gladly. That alone was enough to wake me up, but I flew out into the hallway, as if shoved out by the pressure exuded by the teacher's sheer power. If I was going to wash my face anyway, then I'd rather use the sinks out front rather than the ones in the dark restroom. Thinking that, I left the hallway and went to the entrance. The sunlight was strong. So strong you wouldn't think it was June. I turned the faucet, and with a lifeless bubbling noise, lukewarm water came pouring out. If I let it run for a few moments, would it get cold? I looked at it absent-mindedly for a little while.
やっぱケイちゃんはこっちの流しを選んだか。
I knew you'd choose these sinks, Kechi, or
表の
Kichin.
方が気分いいもんね。
The ones out front just feel better, don't they?
ミオンか。
Mion? Yawn, 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 yawn.
授業サボるなよな。
No cutting class now. I stuck my hands into the water. Mine had gotten so cold that it seemed strange I had ever been warm. I scooped it up and splashed against my face. Once I was done, I moved out of the way, and Mion did the same.
ミオン、具合の方はいいのかよ。
Mion, how's your cold doing?
眠いのは寝不足じゃなくて、薬の副作用なんだろ。
You're sleepy because of the medicine, not from lack of sleep, right?
実は内緒なんだけど、昨日はお祭りの後で親族の宴会に巻き込まれちゃってさ。
Ha 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 ha. Actually, this is secret, but after the festival yesterday, got wrapped up in the party my relatives were having.
それで実はエンドレスに突入しちゃって。
And well, I had a bit. A bit. She made a gesture like she was tilting a cup into her mouth, which means you didn't have a cold or anything.
つまり、本当に寝不足なのかよ。
Are you hungover?
徹夜明けならそうと言え、紛らわしい。
How old are you? Kechi, she's a self-described old man. How surprised can you be? Mion goes, nah.
勘弁してよ。
Give me a break.
体調が悪いのは本当なんだからさ。
I really don't feel well, you know? Suppose she'd be feeling lousy either way. Still, treat colds and hangovers in completely different ways.
心配して損したぞ。
I was worried over nothing.
たく、ミオンらしいというかなんというか。
Man, guess that's just like you, Mion. Mion scratched her head, a little embarrassed. She didn't seem to be feeling well, but now that I knew it was a hangover, didn't need to worry too much. It would go away with time, after all.
あ、でも頭がガンガンするのは本当。
Oh, but my head really is pounding, so...
だからさ、さっき先生に早退していいって言われちゃった。
Teacher told me I should go home early.
あ、ずるいやつ。
You cheater.
じゃあミオンはもうこれで帰りなのか？
So you're going home now, Mion? Now I looked again. Mion had her bag with her. She must have been on her way home. I haven't done it in a while. I haven't had to do it necessarily in a while, especially because I work from home now. But I remember being a young adult and Every good chunk of once a while, especially towards the end of when I stopped working at the first place I worked at. I was calling in sick a lot of the times after hungover nights. I'd be like, I'm sick. I'm sick. Now that I looked again, Mion had her bag with her. She must have been on her way home.
申し訳ないけどね。
Yep, I feel bad about it though.
今日は家でおとなしく寝させてもらうわ。
Get some I'll get some rest at home like a good girl. Man, I don't know if this is intentional, maybe if I'm just forgetting something, but like they constantly keep at least the way it's portrayed, like they keep canceling like club activities, or I should say club activities seem to be canceling themselves due to like them being busy, them not being together all the time, all together. I don't know if it's going to be a thing. I don't know if I'm actually calling something, but it just feels so like in the first chapter, it was very much like, oh, every day club activity, this is our thing, bada 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 bing, this is how we love each other. And then this one, it's like Mion's working, she's sick, she's hungover, she's busy, Rika's got to dance. They all have like, it's like, it keeps, I guess what I'm trying to say, I don't know if it's like intentional or not. I don't know if I'm actually picking up on something right now or not. Anyway, I'll get some rest at home like a good girl. Oh, I think I clicked out of it.
部活できなくて申し訳ないね。
Sorry, can't make it to the club.
今日はケイちゃんがリーダーってことでやってくれない？
Would you take over as leader for today, Ki-chan?
多分無理だと思うぜ。
I don't know if that'll happen.
俺たち部活は全員揃った時しかやらないっていう暗黙の了解があるだろ
We have that unspoken rule where we don't do the club unless everyone is there, don't we?
う。ミオンがバイトに行ってる時はいつもそのままお開きだったんだぜ。
We never did it when you had to go to your first perch on job, did we? Mion laughed wryly, saying we didn't need to worry about her. No matter how much fun we have, though, I think that feeling guilty about friends who can't share in it is the sign of a real fantastic friendship. In that sense, the club Mion has created is a wonderful thing. As I thought about it, the moisture on my washed face dried up. Suppose we were talking too much. If I didn't get back to the classroom soon, I could get in trouble.
じゃあな。
Okay, later.
俺は教室に戻るぜ。
I'm going back. Ow, hit my
帰
hand.
りは気をつけろよ。
Be careful on your way home.
ふらふらして側溝や用水路に落ちるなよ。
Don't wobble into a sewer or a brook. Got it? I left it at that, turned around, started heading back to the classroom.
そうそう、ケイちゃん。
Oh, one more thing, Ki-chan. Mion stopped me and I turned my head to listen.
なんだ
What's up?
変なこと聞くけど、深く考えないで答えてね。
This may sound weird, but don't think too hard about it.
そりゃ内容によりけりだな。
Well, that depends on what it is.
昨日の綿流しの晩さ、富武さんと高野さんに会わなかった？
Uh-oh. Last night, near the end of the festival, did you see Tomotage-san or Takano-san anywhere? I suddenly tensed up.
富武さんと高野さんはわかるよね。
You know Tomotage-san and Takano-san, right?
ほらケイちゃん、お祭りの前日準備の時、シオンと一緒に4人でお話ししてたでしょ？
You remember, Ki-chan, when the four of you were talking during setup the day before? If I could, I wanted to forget about sneaking into the storehouse that night as soon as possible. So hearing the names of the people I was with at the time really got to me. Besides that, though, why was Mion asking me a question like that? I ended up staring at her, unable to answer immediately. Was she asking to see if I had seen them or not, or was she asking the question knowing that I had? I couldn't tell. Oh, this would be just like me to overanalyze a question like this. Especially if I was, like, guilty in something. But even if I wasn't, I would immediately be going, like, is she asking me because she doesn't know? Or that she knows that I was with them earlier? I think Kechi needs to act and pretend that he's fainting. Just faint. Just fall to the ground. Act like you're dying. Get out of the conversation quickly.
さあ、どうかな。
Well, maybe
会ったような、会わなかったような。
I might have seen them around. I don't know. Terrible answer. Terrible answer. My vague response was clearly not to Mion's liking. What answer was she expecting from me? There was no way for me to know.
そう。
I see.
じゃあもう一つ質問ね。
Then, one more question.
同じく夕べ
On the same night,
シオンに会わなかった？
did you see Shion? My heart leapt into my throat again. The tiny needles buried underneath Mion's words prickled into me.
それ昨日も聞いたよな。
That? Didn't you ask me that yesterday?
俺会ったかどうかわからないって答えたと思ったぜ。
I think I told you that I wasn't sure if I had or not.
ん？そうだっけ？
Hmm? Did you?
また改めて聞いたら違う答えが返ってくるかなって思ってさ。
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, what's happening? I guess I just thought I'd get a different answer if I asked you again. Now, wouldn't it be like fucking bizarre if we I don't know how necessarily, because I think at some point they were looking at each other towards the end when they were going to the river or something. But wouldn't it have been weird if like we weren't with Mion last night? What if that was, or we weren't with Shion, I mean, and we were with Mion. And what if she was like, now she's asking this in knowing if she was pretending to be like Shion, and then she goes, fucking Kechi, I was there, and now you're lying to me. She employs the dangerous twin power, and she uses it to catch him in a lie here. I wouldn't put that past the game. I feel like that's something that could very highly likely happen. Anyway, she's freaking out here. I suddenly noticed something in Mion's eyes. Something indescribable. Toмотaka-san and Takano-san. Shion, too. She was asking me about them. There was no doubt about it. Last night, the four of us snuck into the ritual storehouse. She knew everything. So what? There's not really a curse anyway. That's right. Even Shion and Takano-san said yesterday during the festival that there was no curse. And that rather than a curse, it was the doing of the villagers. My blood curdled. Mion was, almost without a doubt, aware that we snuck into the storehouse. It was nothing strange. I screwed up bad flipping on the light switch last night. If Mion had been searching for me, it was simple to imagine that she had seen that momentary light, and come to find out what was going on. The jig is up.
本当に会ってないんだね。
Did you really not see her?
どうして会ったかどうかをそんなに気にするんだよ。
Why are you so intent on knowing if I did or not?
大したことじゃないの。
It's not important.
富武さんと高野さんとシオンとケイちゃんをね、
It's just that there are some people
悪く言ってる人たちがいるの。
who are speaking poorly of Toмотaki-san, Takano-san, Shion, and you, Ki-chan. Oh boy.
何が悪いんだかはよく聞いてないんだけどね。
I didn't really hear what they were saying, though. Unpleasant sweat dripped down my arms, and the sound of it hanging from my fingertips was so annoyingly loud.
私、ケイちゃんが悪いことをするなんて信じてないから。
I don't believe that you're doing something bad.
でも、ちょっとだけ聞いてみたかったから聞いてみたの。
I just wanted to ask a bit about it, so I did.
不愉快な思いをさせてごめんね。
Sorry for making you uncomfortable, okay? Found myself unable to reply. My reaction must have made it obvious what the truth was, and yet I couldn't explain myself.
ケイちゃんは富武さんとも高野さんとも、そしてシオンとも一緒じゃなかった。
Ki-chan, you weren't with Toмотaki-san, Takano-san, or Shion,
そうだよね。
right? She's asking a third time here. Oh boy.
なあ、
Yeah. I finally wrung out an answer between ragged breaths. Mion's expression softened a little.
よかった。
That's good.
私言っとくね。
I'll have to tell them.
ケイちゃんは何にも悪いことには加わってないって。
You weren't involved in anything bad, Ki-chan.
みんなにちゃんと言っておくからね。
So, I'll make sure to tell everyone. Oh, God, that sounds bad. Yeah, please do. Tell them I wasn't doing anything bad. To everyone. Make sure. Everyone. Everyone. Who is everyone?
じゃあね。
Okay, later.
明日は元気になってるから。
I'll be better tomorrow.
バイバイ。
Bye-bye. Ki-chan. You're not... is very bad at helping his own paranoia. He's very clearly a very paranoid kid in general. And the situations he finds himself in or gets himself into, and then the lies he has to use to try to cover situations up, cover the truth up, I should say, is exponentially worsening his paranoia. Wait, Mion. What do you mean by everyone? Just then, a freezing cold hand touched the back of my neck. Oh god, teacher. Hey! You're late, Mybra-kun. How long does it take you to wash your face? It was the teacher. I was taking so long, she came out to get me.
すみません。
I'm sorry.
ついミオンとおしゃべりを。
I was just speaking to Mion. I turned around, but Mion had crossed through the schoolyard without me realizing it, and was now standing at the gate. Come, back to your studies. Quickly now. The teacher was being insistent. We returned to the entrance. I looked back one more time, and Mion was nowhere in sight. She doesn't believe a word he said. I know Mion. She's way too smart. Kechi, you haven't seemed well all day. It's clear because he had far too much fun yesterday.
迷子になって目を真っ赤にさせて半泣きしてたやつに言われたくねえ。
I don't want to be told that by the one who got lost. Your face was all red and you were nearly crying. Ha 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 ha. Ah ha ha ha. Satoko-chan was so cute last night. How? My friends did their best to try and cheer me up, but it didn't lighten my mood. Was it far worse than I thought? Or was it far worse than I thought? Had I really done something that terrible last night? These thoughts remained with me for the rest of the day. Bye, Kechi-kun. I'll see you tomorrow. By the time I realized it, I was in front of my own house. Mi-chan had a cold, right? Could you have a cold too, Kechi-kun? Could you?
え、大丈夫だよ。
Uh-huh. I'm fine.
こう見えても風邪で休んだことはないんだぜ。
I may look scrawny, but I've never missed school because of cold. Both you and Mi-chan didn't look so good today, though.
気にしてくれてありがとな。
Thanks for worrying about me.
大丈夫。バカは風邪ひかないんだぜ。
I'm fine. Ages don't catch colds, remember? Rena smiled, then waved to me and left. Ooh. With my shoulders bobbing up and down from breathing heavily, I entered the house. As soon as I got back in, Mom called out to me.
何?
What? Kechi!
悪いんだけど図書館に行って本を返してきてくれない?
I'm sorry, but could you go to the library and return a few books for me?
めんどくさいな。
Huh? I don't feel like it.
お父さんも母さんも今ね、ちょっと電話待ちをしてるところで家を開けられないの。
Your dad and I have to wait inside the house for a phone call right now, so we can't leave.
返却期限も今日までだし、お願いできない?
I need to return them today. Could you please do it? Sheesh. Did it have to do with Dad's job? No point in arguing if they bring that up.
仕方ないな。
I guess so, but
でも俺、図書館がどこにあるか知らないよ。
I don't know where the library is.
あら、知らないの?
Oh, you don't?
沖宮の駅前をちょっと進んで。
It's a little bit past Okinomiya Station. Just then, the phone rang. My parents' faces immediately turned grim. Mom snatched up the receiver.
もしもし。
Hello?
前原です。はい?
Mybra speaking. I'm sorry?
はい、おりますけど。
Yes, he's right here. Then she thrust the receiver at my face.
圭一に電話よ。
It's for you, Kichi.
早めに終わらせてね。
Don't take too long, okay? I tried to ask who it was from, but asking the person on the phone directly would be faster.
もしもし。
Hello?
その時の
Oh, my goodness. Ah, this is Sonozaki. Well, the younger one.
こんにちは。
Hello.
今はお時間大丈夫ですか？
Do you have time to talk right now? It was Shion. The older sister had a hangover today, but the younger made no reference to it.
シオンか。
Shion?
ミオンと同じで今日は徹夜明けで寝込んでるんじゃないかと思ったぜ。
I thought you'd be sleeping in today with a hangover, same as Mion.
え？
What?
それじゃあおね、今日はずる休みですか？
Mion had a hangover?
おねらしい。
Ha 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 ha. That's so like her. She laughed warmly, but Mom glared at me, silently telling me to finish up.
ごめんな。
Whoop, sorry.
ちょっと親が電話待ちをしてるんでそんなに長話はできないんだ。
My parents are waiting for an important call, so I can't talk for too long.
何の用だ？
What do you need?
お話ししたいことがあったんですけど、長電話が無理じゃ仕方ないですね。
There's something I wanted to talk about, but if we can't talk long, I guess that's that. She sounded a little disappointed. What would Shion want to talk to me about? Now I was interested.
じゃあさ、会って話をしないか？
Then how about we meet? Then how about we meet in person?
ついでに図書館にも案内してもらえるとありがたい。
If you could show me where the library is too, that would be great.
図書館って駅前の私立図書館ですか？
You mean the public library near the station?
別にいいですよ。
Yes, that's fine.
バイトのついでってことで。
I go past there on my way to work anyway.
じゃあ
Hello.
いつもミオンと待ち合わせてる場所わかるか？
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the stream. Okay, then you know where I usually meet up with Mion?
園崎家の小道に分かれる分岐の
At that intersection where the small path from the Sonozaki house splits.
あ、ケイちゃん、
Oh, Ki-chan,
言ってませんでしたっけ？
did I not tell you?
私、本家じゃなくて、沖宮の家に住んでるんですよ。
I don't live at the main house. I live in Okinomiya. Okinomiya.
だから、待ち合わせ場所は、沖宮駅の改札前なんかにしてくれた方が嬉しいんですけど。
If we could meet by the ticket machines in Okinomiya Station, that would be great. Main house? Living in Okinomiya? Now that you mention it, it's always seemed like the Sonozaki sisters weren't communicating. Did they live in different houses? Also, now that you mentioned it, Rina said she never met the younger sister, despite going over to play sometimes.
じゃあ駅に集合な。
Let's meet at the station then.
すぐに行くよ。
I'll go there right away.
じゃあ
Bye. Well, okay. So now that I've approached this topic, now that I've even just mentioned it, now I'm so paranoid of the whole Shion Mion situation that now that we know that they're different people, unless I see the two of them in the same room, I think it could be either one of them. Mion could be doing the Parent Trap situation and pretending to be Shion. Shion could be pretending to be Mion. It's like a cat box. It's like it's an Eon Sisters cat box. If there's only one of them in the room with you, it could be either of them. It could be both of them, could be neither of them. It's a tricky situation. I wonder if Kechi is thinking the same thing, because he was so convinced that they were the same person that I would think then he also has the mindset that, like, if he doesn't see both of them in the same room and they look so similar, he should also be like, I should be paranoid and, like, be careful. Don't say a damn thing if you're only hanging out with one of them. Honestly, you shouldn't be hanging out with Shion at all, but that's a whole other thing. I set the receiver down, and Mom immediately thrust a large pile of library books at my face. 6 volumes of long-form mystery novels. Mom had her own hobbies.
ケイチ、よろしくね。
Thank you, Kichi.
お夕飯までには帰るのよ。
Be back by nightfall.
い
Got it.
じゃあ行ってくれよ。
Okay, I'm going. I supposed I'd change my clothes and grab my bike key. I climbed the stairs to my bedroom. Shion had been waiting for me already, so meeting up was a smooth process.
ミオンと違ってシオンは待ち合わせ時間を守るな。
Wow, Mio never keeps her appointments.
しみじみ。
I mean, honestly.
おねを標準にされるといろいろと困ります。
Making my sister that standard for everything will get you in trouble. Shion seemed a little unsteady, too. She was drinking with Mion last night, wasn't she?
お前も夕べは寝てないんだろ？
You didn't get any sleep last night either, did you?
隠しても無駄だぞ。
Don't try and hide it.
で、学校を早退したに違いない。
You definitely went home from school early.
残念でした。
Oh, too bad.
私はそもそも今日はずる休みしてますので。
I've been at home all day in the first place.
私お姉より容量いいですから。
I'm smarter than Mion, after all. Yeah, my brain is tainted. Right now, I don't see Shion. I see Mion pretending to be Shion right now. I'm so entrenched in my theory now that I've just developed over the last half hour that like this sounds too much like a Mion pretending to be Shion moment. Oh, I'm way smarter than Mion after all. She goes home from school because she says she was sick. She says she was sick and all, boy. And then like it's just like it's way too just it's way too I'm way too in the thought process of like it's way too easy to trick by Mion, and Ketchi's so fucking stupid, so like he wouldn't see this coming a mile away. He's gonna talk about fucking hanging out with the blonde lady and Toмотake, and she's gonna be like, hey, remember that when we were hanging out last night? And he's gonna say, yeah. And then she's gonna rip off the Shion clothes, and it's gonna be Mion clothes underneath, I mean. And she's gonna be like, you fucking bastard, Ketchi. You lied to me, and then I caught you lying, and I asked you, and I gave you so many chances not to lie. And he's like, head spinning. That's what's happening right now. I'm smarter than Mion after all. Hey, I don't think you can call playing hooky smarter.
じゃあ先に用事を片付けます？
You should finish your errand first.
時間もそんなにないですから。
We don't have that much time.
図書館へ行くんですよね。
We're going to the library, right?
ああ、頼むよ。
Yeah, thanks.
お袋の借りてる本の返却期限が今日までらしいんで。
My mom had to return some books by today.
図書館は遠いのか？
Is the library far?
すぐ近くですよ。
No, it's really close by. As she said that, we spotted the signboard for the library almost immediately. If it was this easy to find, then I guess I didn't need Shion to show me where it was after all. Yeah, almost like you shouldn't be hanging out with Shion. We rode around a bend, and the building was right there. Shishibone Public Library. We lived in the country, so I hadn't expected too much, but it was pretty big. First floor was actually a government office, so the library was only on the second floor, but it was still large enough to fit a decent collection of books. We passed through the automatic doors and were greeted by the cool breeze of an air curtain. The cicadas had been loud outside, but it was quiet inside the library. The air conditioning inside was keeping the temperature at an ideal level for the books, which have that mildewy smell unique to old paper.
どこの図書館も似たようなもんだな。
I guess every library is basically the same. If there was one difference, it was that people studying for tests weren't taking up all the seats. I was one of those people, but now that seemed like a distant memory.
すみません、返却に来ました。
Hello, I have books I'd like to return. Librarian went through the process of checking them in, and then returned my mom's library card. Shion was going around the bookshelves with a deeply interested look on her face, like she wasn't the type who went to libraries very often.
悪いな、お待たせ。
Sorry for the wait.
終わったよ。
I'm all done.
図書館って涼しくていいところですね。
Libraries sure are nice and cool, aren't they?
私、将来は図書館で働きたいです。
I want to work in a library one day.
地味というか堅実というか、姉と比べると随分とささやかな希望だな。
Don't know whether to call that boring or dependable. It's a pretty small dream compared to your sister. Mian would definitely want to be a hardworking employee for an international trading company, or some other crazy job that involved her running all around the world. Compared to that, what Shion said is pretty heartwarming.
まあ、互いの持ち味を大切にしたいですよね。
Well, we need to keep our differences dear to us.
私たち、分身じゃなくて、シオンとミオンというちゃんとした個人なんですから。
We're not copies. We're two different people, called Shion and Mion.
双子は双子なりにいろいろと考えてるんだな。
Twins have a lot to think about, huh? What do you mean twins have a lot to think about?
でも楽しそうだよな。
It still sounds like fun. Why is that line very funny to me? Twins have a lot to think about, huh? Yeah, just like every person, I would think.
俺には兄弟はいないから、うちには俺以外は親しかいない。
I don't have any brothers, so there's just me and my parents at my house.
窮屈なもんだよ。
You can get a little uncomfortable.
私だってそうです。
It's the same for me.
お姉とは一緒に住んでるわけじゃないですから。
I don't live with Mion after all. Oh, right. She said something like that, didn't she? Why though? Sisters living apart is unusual. We were getting tired of talking while we were walking. We ended up going to the lounge area, which was vacant, and continuing the conversation.
え？
Yes?
お姉は本家に、私は沖宮の家に住んでるんです。
Mion lives at the main house, and I live in Okinomiya.
本家ってなんだ？
What do you mean by main house?
随分と立派な響きがあるけどな。
You make it sound like you're nobility.
本家は本家です。
It's just the main house.
園崎家の本家。
The Sonozaki family's main house.
お姉は跡取りだから、バッチャと一緒に住んで、いろいろと当主としての修行をさせられてるみたいです。
Mion's the successor, so she lives with Nana and apparently studies all sorts of things as preparation to be the head of the family. Mion, the head of the family? Kind of fit her personality, but kind of didn't, too.
ケイちゃんは引っ越してきたばかりでしたよね。
Ki-chan, you just moved here, right?
自分で言うのもなんですけど、園崎家ってここいらじゃ結構名士なんですよ。
This will sound like I'm boasting, but we of the Sonozaki family are kind of personages around here.
本当かよ。
Personages. Huh? Seriously? The word personage didn't really match the extremely sociable air that Mion and Shion gave off. From what Shion explained, the Sonozaki family goes way back to the beginnings of Hinamizawa. After the war, they had a bunch of successful ventures and extend their influence to a wide area.
園崎家はですね、親族全体で助け合う土壌があるんです。
Sonozaki House is a foundation under which the entire family operates.
今の当主のバッチャが築き上げたんですけどね。
Though the current family head, Grandma, was the one who built it. The entire family would provide backup to help one relative with a business venture. They were like a huge living company. This let them avoid tax-related problems and help relatives' ventures succeed, one after another, using large amounts of money.
沖宮の街を歩くことがあったら、看板とかを意識してみてください。
If you ever go for a walk through Okinomiya, pay attention to the signboards and stuff.
園崎の親族が経営しているお店ってとても多いんですよ。
There's a ton of shops that are managed by members of the Sonozaki family.
言われてみれば、
Now that you mention it,
例のおもちゃ屋も親類の人が経営してるみたいだったな。
that toy store looked like it was managed by relatives as well.
そういえば、エンジェルモートも親類の人が経営してるんじゃないのか？
Does that mean your relatives operate Angel Mart too? Even what few shops I was familiar with were involved with the Sonozaki family. It's definitely surprising.
特に金融不動産関係は強いですね。
The family is particularly strong in finance and real estate.
あと商工会議所の役員も何割かは園崎姓かその親類がついてます。
Even a lot of members of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry either have the last name Sonozaki or are their relatives.
沖宮一帯を評伝に市議会議員と県議会議員にも園崎がいますし、
There are Sonozakis in the city council and the prefectural assembly too, since they have the Okinomiya area giving them strong electoral support.
ちょっと待て。
Wait a minute.
なんだかすごい話になってきたぞ。
This is all escalating pretty quickly. Oh no, so what's going to be the case is the whole village is Sonozaki people. Everyone's a Sonozaki. Her relatives operate shops in downtown Okinomiya, and they're especially strong in finance and real estate. On top of that, a lot of these in the Chamber of Commerce and Industry are relatives. There are even people elected to local offices.
ひょっとして、
So then,
園崎家ってこの辺り一帯じゃすごいんじゃ。
the Sonozaki family, it's pretty famous in this area?
ねえ、
Yes.
すごいんです。
It's crazy.
うん。
All of a sudden, a cigarette-smoking, overweight old man, damn, interrupted our conversation. Wait, I know this guy.
どうも、
Hello.
こんにちは。
Good afternoon.
今日はデートですかな？
Are you on a date today?
羨ましいですね。
Ah, what I would give to be young again.
そうだと思ったら邪魔しないでほしかったですね。
If you thought we were on a date, then why are you bothering us? Damn, what a clap back.
大石さん
Oishi-san? That was it. He was Oishi-san, a police officer. I thought it was this person who came to my rescue when I got involved with those delinquents before. Now that I thought about it, Mion didn't seem to like him very much.
いえいえ、すみません。
No, I apologize.
知ってる声が聞こえてきたので、ついつい。
Heard a familiar voice, so I came over to see. Oishi-san laughed coarsely, not showing any sign of giving up. As Shion watched him do so, I didn't feel the same sense of malice from her as I had from Mion.
前原さんでしたよね。
Maibara-san, right?
あなたもタフな人ですね。
So, big difference between Mion and Shion. Mion is A-cab. Shion, apparently not so much. Maibara-san, you're one tough guy.
園崎姉妹を二股かけるなんて。
Another notch, another flag in Mion's cap for me. Another win. You're one tough guy, two-timing the Sonozaki sisters, are you?
いや、そんな
Damn.
二股だなんて。
No. Oishi says, nice I'm feeling loopy tonight. So Ketchi says, no, I'm not two-timing anyone. I turned around to look at Shion and plead for help, but she grinned and maintained her silence. Her gaze wandered. She looked at the clock.
ごめんなさいケイちゃん
I'm sorry, Ki-chan.
私もうバイトの時間なんです
I really need to get to my job. Huh?
そうなのか？
Oh, did you? Wait, didn't Shion have something to talk about today? Now this weird man is here, though.
また今度
Yep, I'll see you later.
バイトが終わったら電話します
Oh, I'll give you a call after I'm done.
夜なら電話大丈夫ですよね
It'll be okay to call at night, right?
あ
Yeah,
あ、大丈夫だと思う。
probably okay.
じゃあ今夜電話しますのでその時に
Then I'll talk to you later tonight.
じゃ
Bye. Trying to clear my throat there. Shion left so fast she was practically running. Oishi-san was waving at me with a grin. I felt like I'd been left here as bait so she could get away. That's rude. Maybe she was lying about having to go to work.
園崎のご令嬢とこれだけ親しくできるなんて、前原さんもなかなかの大物ですね。
You're quite the big shot, being so close to the Sonozaki daughters.
私も口の利き方を改めた方がいいかもしれません。
Maybe I should rethink how I talk to you too. Oishi-san put a coin into a vending machine as he said something a bit appalling.
アイスティーでいいですか？
Is iced tea okay with you?
ミルクは入れます？
Do you want milk in it?
え、
Huh?
あ、いえ、
Oh, no,
じゃあ入れますよ。
I'll put some in then, alright?
はいどうぞ。
Here you are. He handed me a cup of tea filled to the brim with ice as I looked on absent-mindedly. I don't think I'm obligated to have a guy like this buy me a drink, but he did get it for me, so I'll thank him. Was Oishi-san just killing time? Don't know each other well, but he still engaged me in conversation about all sorts of dumb things. When I thought back to how I talked to Shion, this seemed like a total disaster.
前原さんは園崎さんのことをどれくらいご存知で？
Maibara-san, how much do you know about Sonozaki-san?
さっき聞いた以上のことは何も。
Other than what I heard just now, nothing. Until then, I hadn't known anything about either Mion or Shion, other than the fact that they were interesting. I really did only just learn that she was the daughter of some prestigious family.
園崎家はこの地域一帯を牛耳ってるヤクザ屋さんです。
Ah. The Sonozakis are a Yakuza group, with this entire region under their thumb.
ちなみに彼女のお父さんは関東でも有名なヤクザの大幹部さんです。
Plus, her father is a high-ranked executive in the something Yakuza Association.
ご存知でした？
Did you know that? Yakuza mention. What?
大幹部って。
An executive?
シオンさんのご自宅をご存知ないんですか？
Have you ever seen where Shion-san lives?
高い塀に有刺鉄線と監視カメラで守られた典型的なヤクザの組長宅ですよ。
It's the first picture of it's the very picture of a gang boss's house, protected by high walls, barbed wire fence, and security cameras.
今度ぜひ遊びに行ってみてください。
If you have the chance, you should go and visit her. She'd mentioned Mion being a successor, but to a Yakuza group?
いやいやいやいやいやい
It's
や。
kind of hardcore, actually. Dude, honestly, I could see Mion being the leader of a Yakuza group. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. No.
まさかまさか。
Not at all, not at all.
園崎美音さんが継ぐのはそんなちんけなヤクザ組織だけじゃありません。
A boring old Yakuza group isn't the only thing Mion Sonozaki-san will inherit.
彼女が継ぐのは園崎家そのものですよ。
She's inheriting the Sonozaki family herself.
そのあたりの意味、ちょっと噛み締めていただけますかな。
I'll leave it to you to mull over what exactly that means. Why is Oishi always gotta be weird? Oishi-san had spoken lightly about all this from start to finish, but what he was saying wasn't light in the least. It was abrupt and unbelievable.
ミオンさんがその気になれば、往来の真ん中で人殺しをしたってもみ消せちゃうかもしれないんですよ。
If Mion-san wanted to, she could kill someone in the middle of the street, still covered up.
証人は現れないだろうし、警察にだって圧力をかけられますし。
Not only would witnesses not show up, but she'd put pressure on the police too.
ミオンは人殺しなんかしないぞ。
Mion would never kill someone.
しません、ものの例えですよ。
No, she wouldn't. I'm just speaking hypothetically. Now, it's also interesting to know this because, like I said, everyone is Sonozaki basically, or at least knows the Sonozaki power, right? And it leads, or it gives some kind of interesting context to then conversation Mion and Kechi were having just a little while ago, where she asked, like, hey, were you hanging out with Tomotake and fucking blonde-haired lady and Shion earlier? And then he's like, no, totally not. And then she let it be known that she's definitely hearing that they were. She's like, oh, I'll go tell everyone else that you weren't then. It's like, damn. So not only does she have like a network of people giving her information, but then like she's like, fine, if I'm to believe you, I'll tell everyone else that you weren't hanging out with the troublemakers. Even though I don't think she believed him again. I think Kechi is extreme. I think canonically Kechi's really bad at lying. And he can't pull it off at all. No one believes anything he says when he tries to lie.
大石さんでしたっけ？
Your name, it was
名前。
Oishi-san, right?
ねえ、そうです。
Yes, that's right.
大石さん、
Then Oishi-san.
ミオンの家が何だろうと、ミオンは俺の誇れる最高の友人です。
Whatever family Mion comes from doesn't change the fact that she's the best friend I could ever have, and I'm proud of that.
それをあまりけなすような言い方は
I don't-
好きになれないですね。
I don't appreciate people speaking ill of her. Damn. I let my quiet anger show through in my gaze as I stared at him. Of course, can never seem to tell what he's thinking, so didn't know if it had any effect.
ではざっくばらんに、
Then let me be frank.
そのミオンさんにいくつかの事件の嫌疑がかかっているとしたらどう思います？
If Mion-san was suspected of a handful of incidents, what would you think? What would you think? Question mark. Also, I guess it makes even more sense now if this is all true and all we're, being told everything at face value of why, like, Mion clearly, it was painted as if she has a distrust for Oishi-san here. She knows he's this, like, investigative police cop guy. Obviously, if you're, like, a Yakuza group, then the only potential at that point, especially such a powerful one, probably the biggest opposing force then that you would have is going to be, like, this outside police force kind of thing. That all makes a bit more sense. It would be like the only thing that's able to slightly oppose them, especially if the whole village is basically in with this family. Anyway, suspected ? Incidents ? You can't just say terrible stuff like that on a whim.
何かの誤解に決まってるじゃないですか。
Then it would be a misunderstanding, of course.
ミオンは物騒なことを言うやつだけど、そんな悪いことをするようなやつじゃない。
Mion may say some dangerous things, but she's not the kind of person who would do something so awful.
前原さん、お静かにお静かに。
Maibara-san, keep your voice down.
ここ、図書館ですから。
We're in a library. Oishi-san shushed me, but in a state of heightened excitement as I was, I couldn't be calmed so easily.
落ち着いてください。
Please, calm down.
さっきも申し上げました通り、園崎家はいい意味でも悪い意味でもこの辺り一帯で強い力を持っているんです。
As I said before, the Sonozaki family holds a lot of power in this region, for better or worse.
ですから、ちょっと何かあるとすぐに疑いがかかってしまう。
So if anything happens, they would immediately be suspect.
その辺りをご理解いただきたいのですよ。
I'd appreciate it if you understood that. Well, I know what Oishi-san is trying to say. Combining it with what Shion told me before, the Sonozaki family is huge, controls everything from Hinamazawa to Okinomiya. Mion, meanwhile, is its successor, who apparently holds strong influence over the entire family. Still, that's all. That's the only reason they're suspecting her.
ですから、私だって仕事で仕方なくやってるんです。
I'm just doing my job here.
ミオンさんを疑うためでなく、ミオンさんの疑いを晴らすために捜査をしている。そうお考えいただきたいのです。
Not to doubt Mion-san of anything, but to clear up suspicions surrounding her. Please think of it like that. Could talk a dog out of a meat truck. He could talk a dog, yeah. He was the definition of a shrewd, unfair adult. At this point, I began to think that it was no coincidence I'd met him.
大石さん、ひょっとして俺に用なんですか？
Oishi-san, do you need something from me?
ねえ、そうですよ。
Yes, I do.
前原圭一さん。
Kechi Maibara-san? He answered in an absent tone of voice.
何かの事件でミオンを疑っていて、その友人の俺に何か聞きに来た。
Mion's been suspected of something, and you came to hear from a friend of hers. Me.
そういうことですか？
Is that it?
いえいえ、違います。
No, that isn't it.
私は園崎美音さんの友人と話をしに来たのではなく、前原圭一さんに話をしに来たのです。
I didn't come to talk to a friend of Mion Sonozaki-san. I came here to talk to Kechi Maibara-san.
ご自宅にお伺いしたらご迷惑でしたでしょうからね。
It would probably have bothered you had I visited your house.
俺に
To me?
警察が何の用だって言うんですか？
What do the police want with me? Having realized this faked coincidental meeting had me as its target, my mood immediately turned foul. No.
そんなに構えなくて大丈夫ですよ。
You don't need to be so tense.
肩を楽にして、ちょっと質問に答えてくださるだけでいいんです。
Calm down and just answer a few questions.
それって職務質問ってやつですか？
Am I being questioned?
偶然知り合ったおじさんとの世間話ってことにしましょう。
Let's call it a chat with a guy that you happened to run into. No, Kechi, you don't have your lawyer with you. Don't answer any questions. Don't say anything. Shut the fuck up, Friday. Oishi-san freely suggested that I relax. That said, behind his eyes was a light, which I could only see sometimes. That was as sharp as a hawk. If I tried in vain to run away... Yeah, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Saturday. I missed it. If I tried in vain to run away, he might actually take me in and bring me to an interrogation room or something. There was an undoubtedly unpleasant thought.
ゆうべは綿流しのお祭り、盛大で楽しかったですね。
You had a roaring good time at the Wanagashi festival last night, didn't you?
はぐらかさないでください。
Don't beat around the bush, please.
今さら世間話なんかされても。
I can't do small talk right now.
昨日の綿流しの晩、
Last night, during the festival,
富武二郎さんと高野美代さんにお会いしませんでしたか？
did you see Jiro Tomotake-san and Mio Takano-san? Ugh, why is everyone asking me about these creepy adults? I don't know. No, I wasn't. Why don't you go ask them? Actually, go ask Shion. Stop asking me questions. Leave me alone. Gulp. I could plainly feel myself give a start.
あれ、写真はどこに行っちゃったかな？
Where did I put those pictures?
あ
Oh,
あ、あったあった。
here they are. He opened a small notebook and removed 2 photographs. Look at this! I didn't have to look.
さあ
Well,
どうでしょ
who knows?
う。あったような合わなかったような。
I might have seen them around. I don't remember. I was asked the same question for the second time today. I gave the same answer for the second time, too.
あれ、記憶が曖昧ですか？
Your memories are blurry?
まさかアルコールが入っててよく覚えてないなんてのはなしにしてくださいよ。
You couldn't have possibly been drinking or anything. No. Here, too, I got the same answers I had from Mion. I realized he wasn't taking my vague reply well. Why is he asking me? The same thing Mion did. The dark feelings I had forgotten, or nearly forgotten due to my conversation with Shion, came rushing back in a hurry. We snuck into the sacred ritual storehouse, a punishable act. It was on a tiny impulse. While it may not count for much now, I do feel sorry about it.
もう一度お聞きしますよ。
I'll ask you again.
ゆうべのお祭りで富武二郎さんと高野美代さんにお会いしませんでしたか？
Did you see Jiro Tomitake-san and Mio Takano-san at the festival last night? Now here's my deal. As a kid, I was really bad. Like, not really bad. But if I was ever... I would try not to lie. Ever. Right? But if I lied once, then I was the type of kid... I was writing that lie until I was fucking caught by red-handed by a million people. I would ride the lie and the lies around it as much as I could. So, like, if I lied to Mion here, and my story now is, hey, I totally did not see them last night at the festival, I didn't break in that thing, if that's my lie, then I'm going to say the lie to him as well. And I'm going to, until they give me a reason to say, no, we have physical proof that you were there, you might as well lie. You might as well. Until they have proof otherwise. Now, the problem is with Kechi here, like I said, I don't think he's a good liar. I think he clearly gives off liar's guilt, and he's just bad at it. I think he, in my opinion, I mean, we don't get to see obviously Kechi's face as he's lying here, but everyone he attempts to lie to doesn't say it and call it out directly, but always makes it seem like they know that he's lying. So, I think he's just bad at it. Anyway, Oishi says, I'll ask you again. Did you see Jiro Tomitake-san and Mio Takano-san at the festival last night? His tone was soft, but there was a dreadfulness in his voice, clearly different from the first time he asked. I'm scared. That was exactly how I felt.
繰り返し聞かれても、答えはさっきと同じです。
Even if you repeat the question, my answer won't change. I don't really remember. There wasn't any better answer I could give him. I didn't have the balls to say I didn't see them, nor the courage to admit I had.
そうですか。
I see.
改めて聞けば、さっきとは違う答えが返ってくるかなと思いましてね。
I just thought I'd maybe get a different answer if I asked the second time. I'm too scared to look Oishi-san in the eyes.
では、質問を変えます。
I'll change the question.
ほら、前原さん。
Come, Maibara-san.
リラックス、リラックス。
Relax, relax. Oishi-san grabbed my shoulders and squeezed them as if trying to give me a massage. Mostly just hurt, though. Still, why would he ask the same thing as Mion? If he's asking the same things, then the next question must be...
同じく夕べのお祭りなんですが、園崎しおんさんにお会いしませんでしたか？
On the same night of the festival, did you see Shion Sonozaki-san? Clatter, clatter, clatter. I wonder what the sound was. When I looked down, I saw that it was the unmelted ice in the cup I was gripping in my hands. Oh no, his hand's shaking. My hands are trembling, rocking the ice back and forth. Realizing that, I hastily put the remaining ice in my mouth and crunched down on it.
すみません。
Sorry.
あったかもしれないですけど、ほら、 ミオにもそっくりですから。
I may have seen her, but, well, you know, she looks just like Mion.
ミオンと見間違えてるかも。
I might have just mistaken the two.
そんなわけはないでしょう。
That can't be. Suddenly, Oishi-san grabbed both my shoulders and hunched down to give me a level stare. This must be what it's like to be a deer in the headlights. I want to look away, but I can't. This is the first time I've experienced such a piercing stare.
ミオンさんもシオンさんも服装は全然違うんですから。
Mion-san and Shion-san wear completely different clothing.
そう簡単に見間違えるはずはありませんよ。
You wouldn't mistake the two so easily, I would think.
前原さん。
My Bursa. His voice was harsh. Harsh, the same as when Mion said it. I could feel my heartbeat quickening. When I realized he could feel it through my hands on my shoulders, I got even more scared. Why? Why are Mion and Oishi-san both asking me about last night? Was sneaking into that storehouse so bad? Ugh. I shouldn't have let Takano-san talk me into it. The fucking blinded freak! Takano-san casually said to check it out too, so yeah, fuck him through. Throw him in as well. Honestly, never mind. You know how I said just ride the lie out completely? Fuck it. Admit to it and just blame the two adults in the situation. Throw them under the bus. I don't care. Even Shion, if she hadn't encouraged me. No, I understood. I was the one most at fault here. I shouldn't have let my curiosity get the better of me. I shouldn't have gone into the forbidden storehouse.
おいさん、
Oishi-san,
ホタルの光っす。
I think that's our cue to get out of here. A young man wearing a suit came into the lounge. From the way he held himself, I knew immediately that he was Oishi-san's subordinate.
ん？あれは本当だ。
Oh, so it is.
もう閉館なんですね。
Closing time already? I didn't realize it until he said something. The jingle and announcement telling patrons the library had closed had started playing without me realizing it. I was so irritated, so overwhelmed, that I couldn't even hear it.
じゃあ前原君。
Well then, Myberkin,
もうこんな時間なんで私たちは失礼させてもらいます。
we're out of time, so allow me to take my leave.
このお話はもっと時間のある時にのんびりといたしましょう。
I'd like to talk with you more about this at your leisure, when we have more time. This isn't a joke. If I never saw him again, it'd be too soon. Oishi-san followed his subordinate and left the lounge behind him. However, he spun back around.
そうそう前原さん。
Oh, right, Myberson.
なんですか？
What is it?
さっきさせてもらった2つの質問ですが、
There's two questions I asked you before.
どちらの回答もよく覚えてないでしたよね。
You don't remember well enough to answer either of them, correct?
はい。
Right.
参考までに。
Just so you know,
あなた、昨日全員にお会いしてますよ。
you saw them all yesterday.
4人で楽しそうに歩いてたじゃないですか。
You were walking along, four of you, having quite a pleasant time,
石段のところで。
near the stone steps.
私がこの目で見てますから。
I saw you with my own eyes. Alright, old guy. Then why didn't you just fucking tell me? I don't know. Maybe Ketchy needs to just develop an attitude. Maybe he needs to just be like, why are you guys trying to get me to admit to something you guys all probably know I was doing? Just fucking ask me. Why we gotta be so round about it? Roundabout about it. Ketchy goes, ugh. I caught my breath, and my heart seemed like it was about to stop. What a detestable person. He knew, and he was testing me.
ではまたお会いしましょう。
We'll meet again.
良いお年を。
Have a good year. I sat there like a rock, unmoving, till I could no longer hear the cackling sounds of their footsteps. Crazy. I was on my way back home. The cries of the Higurashi accentuated the already lonely evening. More time had passed than I thought. The orange of the dusky sky was being chased down, little by little, by an indigo color approaching from the east. Exhausted from the slow climb towards Inamazawa, without even noticing, gotten off my bicycle, and was pushing it uphill. I don't understand any of this. No one had told me to my face that I'd done something wrong. No, in fact, it might have been much easier on me that way. What happened yesterday really was just my curiosity. It really was no more than a quiet prank. No more than having the courage to cross at a red light as long as you did it with other people. The storehouse for ritual implements, hollowed ground, only accessible to the family of the priest. For sure, I'd seen terrifying things I'd never imagined would be there. Thinking of it now, though, didn't matter what was stored away inside. Didn't make the wrong I had committed any more right. What the four of us did, Mion seemed to know about it. For some reason, even the police were trying to learn what the four of us did. Did we do something so bad? Really? Doesn't matter how wrong it was. I did something wrong. It was nothing more than that, and yet, I couldn't accept it. Didn't apologize to Mion or Oishi-san. All I did was shield myself with ambiguities. I did something wrong yesterday. I set foot into a forbidden storehouse for a little bit of mischief. I forgot everything I saw in there. I won't ever do something like that again, either. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If I apologized like that, would they forgive me? Suddenly cool evening at air left no room for such sentiment, however, as it mercilessly chilled my feet, urging me to head home as soon as possible. In the end, the evening air was correct. If I trudged along such an isolated road, regrets would pile on top of regrets, but nothing would change. Let's go home. I'll go home, go to my room, put on my favorite music or something, and go to bed. That might sound plain and boring, but it's probably the strongest I've felt all day. Now that I've made a decision, there's no point dawdling in a place like this. I sat back on my bike. I pushed hard on the pedals. I rapidly advanced forward. I steadily gained speed. The wind was cutting and mercilessly cold, but it actually felt good, as if it were softly punishing me. This tea is one of my favorite, by the way. Like this current song playing. The wind was cutting and mercilessly cold, but it actually felt good, as if it was softly pushing me. I would say it is the one thing I was going to say about it is it's finally something different. We've gotten a lot of the same things recently here towards the beginning. Wind was cutting and mercilessly cold, but it actually felt good, as if it were softly punishing me. Bugs. I didn't eat much dinner before excusing myself early and returning to my bedroom. My mom called me from downstairs. Keiichi?
電話よ
You have a call.
園崎さんから
It's from Sonozaki-san. Sonozaki? Was it Mion? No, it was Shion. I just remembered. She'd had something she wanted to tell me today. Oishi-san had interrupted us, so she didn't get the chance. Shion had said she'd call tonight.
もしもし、
Hello?
シオンか。
Is that you, Shion?
どうも
Hello?
今日は災難でしたね
Ran into a bit of trouble today, didn't we? She said it so plainly that I got a bit annoyed. She was the one who left me there and ran.
そんなこと言わないでください
Don't say that.
私ケイちゃんに一緒に逃げようってサインを送ったじゃないですか
I gave you the signal to run away with me, didn't I? Yeah, the signal, I totally understood.
なのにケイちゃんぼさっと残っちゃって
You just sat there looking dazed, Ki-chan.
ボサってことはないだろ
I wasn't dazed.
う。シオンがあっという間に置いてきぼりにしたんで、あの後俺は大石のおっさんにたっぷり付き合わされたんだぜ。
All of a sudden you left me there, and after that I had to put up with that Oishi guy for ages.
そんなの私に愚痴られても困ります
Don't complain to me about it. I can't believe she passed it off like that. She looked just like Mion, and yet inside, she's this different. I got a little irritated myself when I realized I was, somewhere in my mind, hoping for the same reaction I would get from Mion, even though she's a different person.
ああ、悪かったよ。
Sorry.
次からはシオンを置いてくぐらいのつもりで、真っ先に逃げ出すようにする。
Next time I'll run away first thing and leave you there.
できればレディーファーストでお願いします。
Hey. Hey, it's ladies first. Shion laughed refreshingly. When I heard her voice, I realized that she wasn't really that angry or anything. It was just as she said. The cause of my temper was because it was my own fault for not leaving immediately. I'll stop blaming it on others. Blaming it on others would be...
それより、俺に何か話があるんだろ
Anyway, you had something to tell me, right?
はい。
Oh, yeah.
もしも、もう知ってるなら、改めて言うような話じゃないんです。
I mean, if you already know, then it's not something that bears repeating.
その、知ってますか？
Do you already know? Shion lowered her voice suddenly as she were glancing around. I had no idea what I could already know.
悪いけど、何のことかさっぱりわからないぞ。
Sorry, but I have no clue what you're talking about. Oh no, she's gonna say something like, "Oh, Mion totally knows we were hanging out or something." Whatever you do, don't lie to Mion. She already knows.
ヒントくらい出せ。
At least give me a hint.
ってことは、知らないみたいですね。
So that means you don't know? She seemed to take my stupid sounding question as evidence. However, her voice didn't sound disappointed or exasperated in the slightest.
実は、昨日の綿流しのお祭りの晩なんですけど。
Actually, it's about last night during the bubmanXIV festival. My entire body jolted as I was assailed by a terrible feeling. Is Shion going to ask the same thing?
もしもし？
Hello?
ケイちゃん、聞いてます？
Ki-chan, are you listening?
ああ、
Yeah,
聞いてる。
I am.
昨日の晩どうしたんだよ。
What about last night?
私たち4人、入ったじゃないですか。
The four of us went in there, right? She didn't beat around the bush. Whether or not I wanted to admit it, that was the actual honest truth, and I couldn't act like it hadn't happened.
それでその後、みんなで歩いて、石段のあたりで私たち、みんな別れましたよね。
Then, after that, we walked away together, and then went our separate ways near the stone stairs, right? Oh no! Ketchy, check the caller ID. That might be Mion calling you. It's another trap. Don't admit anything over the phone.
高野さんたちは沢に行って、ケイちゃんはその場に残って。
Don't say anything unless both people are in the same room with you at the same time, and only then can you trust that they're both who they say they are. Takano-san and Tomoaki-san went to the stream, and you stayed there, Ki-chan.
私は親類の人たちのところに行っちゃって。
I went over to see some relatives.
あ
Yeah.
あ、それがどうした？
Why do you ask?
お互い、質問の返し合いになっちゃうと拉致が開かないんで、私からまず質問します。
We won't make any progress if we keep asking each other questions, so let me ask this question first.
いいですか？
Okay.
ゆうべ、富武さんと高野さんに会いませんでしたか？
You mean, did I see Tomoaki-san and Takano-san last night?
え？
Huh?
はい。
Oh, yes.
あの後、あの二人には会いましたか？
Did you see the two of them after that? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't surprised. This is the third time I've been asked this question today. Why? What the hell is going on?
どうしてだよ。
Why?
だからどうしてそれを俺に聞くんだよ。
Why are you asking me that?
ほらほら、ケイちゃん。
No, Ki-chan.
質問は私からのはずです。
I'm asking the question.
答えてください。
Please answer me.
シオンはあったのか？
Did you, Shion?
シオンが先に答えたら俺も答える。
If you answer first, then I'll answer. My shabby response betrayed how scared and small I felt now, after everything that had happened today. Shion didn't say anything for a few moments. Just as I was beginning to think I'd really put my foot in my mouth with that response, she finally answered me.
もちろん、会ってません。
Of course, I didn't see them.
一緒にいた親類が証明できます。
My relatives were with me, and they can vouch for that.
俺だって会ってない。
I didn't see them either.
証明って言うなら、ミオンとかレナとかみんながしてくれる。
People can vouch for me too, like Mion, Rina, and everyone else. Now that we knew our answers matched, she let out a sigh that sounded more relieved than anything else.
正直に答えてくれて、
Thank you
あ
for
りがとうございます。
thank you for answering me honestly.
じゃあ、言いますね。
Okay then. I'll tell you. Did they got again?
昨べ高野さんと富武さんが死んだんだそうです。
Apparently, last night, Takano-san and Tomitake-san died.
ごめんシオン
Sorry, Shion.
今なんて言った？
What was that you just said?
昨べ高野さんと富武さんが死んだんだそうです。
Apparently, last night, Takano-san and Tomitake-san died.
高野さんは焼死体で、
Takano-san was found burned to death.
富武さんは自殺みたいな感じで、
Tomitake-san was, well, looks like a suicide.
今朝知ったんです。
I found out this morning.
お父さんが親類の人からの電話で話してるのを聞いて、
I heard my dad talking to a relative on the phone about it. Late last night. Police car on its way back from festival security duty had discovered Tomitake-san lying in the middle of the road heading towards Okinomiya. He had clawed out his throat and died.
なんだよ喉をかきむしっての自殺って。
What? He clawed out on his own throat?
あの明るそうな富武さんが自殺？
That bright, cheerful Tomitake-san committed suicide?
何かの間違いだろ？
That can't be possible. That can't possibly be right.
警察がちゃんと検視したんです。
The police did an autopsy.
自分の爪で
He did it with his own fingernails.
ガリガリと喉をかきむしって、血管を破いて血をドバドバ出して、
He scratched at his throat so hard that he ruptured his blood vessels and bled out.
自分の血で溺れ死んだんだって。
He died in a pool of his own blood. That's what they said.
そんなバカな自殺聞いたことないぞ。
I've never heard of such an insane suicide.
自分の喉をかき破るなんて
You
お
can't
かしすぎる。
you can't just scratch open your own throat like that. I realized I was yelling too loudly, so I lowered the force I was putting into my voice. I didn't want my parents to hear me, so I switched to the cordless phone and ran up to my own room.
大声出してごめん。
Sorry for yelling.
で
So,
高野さんも自殺なのか？
was Takano-san, was that a suicide too?
高野さんは自殺かどうかちょっと。
In her case, it's a little unclear. Takano-san's body was found in the mountains of Gifu Prefecture. Employees at a rest stop nearby reported to police late that night that they could see flames in the mountains. Ooh, flames in the mountains. The firefighters dispatched there were the first ones to find her. An autopsy concluded that it was the burned corpse of a half-naked female. They initially considered the body beyond recognition, but directly after, there was a request for a dental comparison from the whatever prefectural police station in Okinomiya. The results concluded that it was Mio Takano. Okay, the cause of death wasn't confirmed, but it was highly likely it had been homicide since she was in her undergarments and her clothes were nowhere in the area.
灯油管が転がってたそうなんで、焼身自殺の線もあるそうです。
The oil drum had fallen over, so it's also possible she burned herself to death.
自殺なわけあるものか。
It couldn't have possibly been suicide.
同じ死ぬならもっと楽な方法がいくらでもあるだろ
If you're going to die, there are plenty of easier ways, aren't there?
う。こんなの絶対に自殺なものか。
This can't be suicide.
私だってそう思ってます。
That's what I think.
富武さんのだって自殺だなんて考えられない。
It's unthinkable that Tomitake-san would kill himself too. As the two of us rattled on at each other, there was silence as we paused to catch our breaths. And as we calmed our nerves, right then, I understood what Shion's story actually meant.
お社様のたたりってことになると思います。
I think it'll end up being Oyashiro-sama's curse.
私たち語られるのに十分な資格がありますから。
We all did more than enough to deserve it after all.
資格って冗談じゃないぞ。
Deserve? You gotta be kidding.
別に俺は
It's not like Shion wanted to see it with me. I just went along with her. I tried to say that, but I fell silent. Nothing would come at me blaming others. Didn't matter how much everyone else encouraged me. I could have put my foot down. I lost my own half-assed sense of adventure and agreed to go in with them. Yes, it was my fault and no one else's.
シオン
Shion,
お前は昨べ 細工殿の中に忍び込んだらこうなるかもしれないと予想はついてたのか？
Last night, when we snuck into the ritual storehouse, did you predict things would turn out this way?
まさか。
Of course not.
そりゃ多少はやばいとは思いましたけど、こんなことになるなんて夢にも思いませんでした。
I mean, I thought it was pretty risky, but I never even dreamed something like this could happen. Shion's words were probably her true feelings. She knew she could get in trouble if we were caught, but that was the thrill of this little adventure. It was all the same. It was the same for me.
それよりもケイちゃん、
Besides that, Ki-chan,
ちょっとよく考えてください。
think about it for a moment.
今年のお社様のたたりはおかしくないですか？
Didn't Oyashiro-sama's curse turn out a little strange this year? Sorry, sneezing there. It was already pretty strange, seeing as how Tomotaki-san and Takano-san died like that. Given all that, what could possibly be stranger?
死体が2つ見つかったってことです。
I mean that they found 2 corpses.
言いましたよね。
Remember what I said?
例年は1人が死んで1人が消えるんです。
Every other year, one person would die and one person would disappear.
2人の死亡が確認されたのは今年が初めてです。
This year is the first time 2 people have been found dead.
確かにそうかもしれないけど、そんなのは大した問題じゃないだろう。
That may be true, but that's not a huge deal, is it?
いいえ、ケイちゃん、
It is, Ki-chan.
もっと真剣に考えてください。
Think about it harder.
いいですか？
Listen,
2人の死がお社様のたたりということになってるなら、
if 2 people died because of Oyashiro-sama's curse,
お社様の怒りを鎮めるための生贄もまた2人分必要なはずなんです。
then in order to quell Oyashiro-sama's anger, 2 people would need to be sacrificed.
そういう理屈になるのか？
Is that how it works?
じゃあなんだよ。
So what?
富武さんと高野さんが死んだ陰で今年は2人が行方不明になってるってのか？
Tomotaki-san and Takano-san died, so now 2 people are going to go missing this year? Don't understand why, but when I said that, I felt my spine freeze.
まだ誰も行方不明になってないと思います。
I don't think anyone's been confirmed missing yet.
多分2人が失踪するのはこれからじゃないかと思うんです。
I think that those 2 people have yet to disappear. Shion, like me, was obviously getting the same feeling crawling down her back.
これから2人が失踪する？
2 people have yet to disappear? Shion didn't answer. I couldn't say any more than that either. A chill crept in through my clothes and tried to wrap into a fist around my heart, cold hands feeling about on my chest. Neither of us could say anything. Tomotaki-san opened the lock, and he died. Takano-san exposed the ritual storehouse, and she died. If 2 more people were to be sacrificed, then there would be none other than the ones who entered with them. None other than us.
まさか
No,
冗談だろ？
this has got to be a joke. I wanted so much for her to pass this off as a joke, even now. That, though, was such an incredibly difficult and selfish request. If Tomotaki-san and Takano-san had died in a common way like a car accident, I could tell myself it was a coincidence. Instead, he clawed out his own throat, and she burned to death, drowned in oil in the mountains. The 2 deaths were so out of the ordinary, I couldn't possibly dismiss it as mere coincidence. It was as if, in exchange for sneaking into the ritual storehouse, there must be someone pushing us, some sort of cruel will working behind the scenes. Even so, I still didn't want to accept the terrifying truth. If I did, then I'd have to acknowledge that a horrible crisis was growing near for Shion and I. That's why I argued against it. I argued, knowing I was running away.
大地、そんなの新聞に出てないぞ。
In the first place, it's not even a newspaper, is it?
そんなに奇怪な事件なら絶対に新聞やテレビで報道するはずだろう。
Such a monstrous incident would be all over the newspapers and television.
雑誌記者とかだって面白がって大勢来るに決まってる。
Magazine writers would flood the village too, think it would make for an interesting story.
マスコミに報道されないのは当然なんです。
Of course, it's not getting repeated by the media.
過去にそうだったから。
That's how it was in the past, too. When the incidents occurred for the 3rd year in a row, there were some third-rate magazines that sniffed up the story and ran issues full of gossip columns about Hinamizawa. fearing that the region would develop a negative stigma, they negotiated with the prefecture and the police. Since last year, it became a big conspiracy where no information about the incidents was allowed to be leaked to the media.
村長とか、あと園崎家出身の金バッジが警察に思いっきり圧力をかけたんだって聞いてます。
I hear the elders and the top brass from the Sonozaki family put all the pressure they could on the police.
じゃあつまり二人の死は秘密裏に処理されてしまったということか。
Then you mean their deaths are going to be dealt with in total secrecy?
そういうことで
That's how it is.
す。もちろん警察は捜査をしてますよ。
Of course, the police are investigating it.
でも秘匿捜査ということなので、捜査活動にはかなりの制限が加えられているそうです。
That's being performed in secret too, though, so the investigation itself is very restricted in what it can and can't do.
これは事実上の捜査妨害と言えるでしょうね。
You could essentially say they're interfering with police investigation. The story was unbelievable. People died, and if they didn't publicize it and deal with everything in secret.
もっと噛み砕いて言うと、
If we break it down further,
綿流しの夜に誰が死んでも公にはならないということです。
it means that no matter who dies on the night of the Watanagashi, it won't go public.
そんなバカな話があってたまるか。
That's the biggest pile of bullshit I've ever heard.
ケイちゃん、
Ki-chan,
私以前にお社様のたたりは村人が起こしてるかもしれないって言いましたよね。
before, I said how the villagers could be the ones carrying out Oyashiro-sama's curse.
つまりそういうことなんです。
That's what I mean.
このひなみ沢では毎年綿流しの夜にお社様のたたりということにして誰かを殺してもいい土壌がいつの間にか作り上げられているんです。
At some point, a tradition was created here in Hinamizawa, where every year, you're allowed to kill someone on the night of the Watanagashi under the guise of it being Oyashiro-sama's curse. When someone dies on the night of the Watanagashi, it turns into the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Curse turns into the serial murder incidents. In order to avoid exacerbating the negative stigma around Hinamizawa, those incidents are dealt with in secret.
バカな。
That's insane!
毎年死者と行方不明者が出るんだろ。
Dead and missing people turn up every year.
いくらマイナスイメージって言ったって警察にも限度があるだろう。
However bad the stigma gets, the police have to draw a line somewhere, don't they?
毎年の事件が不可解っていうなら警察も本腰を入れられるんでしょうけど、
You could say the incidents happening every year is mysterious, but the police can get the job done when they need to.
何しろ毎年の事件は個別に解決してますので、
After all, the incidents always get resolved individually.
連続事件という形にならないんですよ。
Doesn't end up being a string of incidents, you know?
たまたま毎年綿流しの晩に不幸なことが起こる、
Just so happens that something unfortunate happens on the night of Watanagashi every year.
それだけのことに。
That's all it turns into. Most of the criminals responsible for the original dismemberment were arrested. Last ones managed to get and stay away, but the events were totally exposed and elucidated. So it was, in essence, resolved. The dam supporting couple who died in an accident on the second year, that was an accidental death, plain and simple. They made a lot of investigations into the possibility of it having been a homicide, but they didn't turn up anything. Ended up as an accident. It was resolved. On the third year, the priest fell ill and passed away. There were doctors present at the hospital at his deathbed, and they all had trustworthy medical certificates. They even did an autopsy. It concluded that it wasn't a homicide. That was resolved too. On the fourth year, the sister-in-law of the dam-supporting couple was murdered. The criminal was an abnormal man with a history of regular psychostimulant usage. He confessed that he thought Oyashiro-sama's curse was so interesting he wanted to try it out. The criminal died in an accident while imprisoned, so this incident was essentially resolved as well. That's right. None of the incidents had any relation to another, and each was independently resolved.
なのになぜか毎年綿流しの晩に不幸な偶然が起こる。
So then why does an unfortunate coincidence occur every year on the night of Watanagashi?
連続事件にしたくても連続にならないんです。
You could try to say it's a string of related incidents, but they're not related.
それでも毎年必ず誰かが死んで誰かが消えていく。
Yet, every year, someone always dies, and someone always disappears. The story Takano-san told me on the day before during the setup, now that the curse really had occurred this year, couldn't just laugh it off.
じゃあ俺たちも 狙われるっていうのか。
Then, does that mean it'll come for us too?
毎年一人死ぬと一人が消えるように、富武さんや高野さんの道連れに消えさせられるっていうのかよ。
Just like how one person dies and one disappears every year. Are you saying we'll be taken along with Tomitake-san and Tomitake-san and Takano-san in a race too? My lips had at some point become completely dry. Just saying that was difficult. Shion didn't respond. Her silence, however, was the clearest form of confirmation she could give me.
俺たち、そりゃ確かに入っちゃいけないところだったかもしれないが、
I mean, sure, we went somewhere we shouldn't have.
見ただけだぜ。
But we were just looking, right?
何かを盗んだり持ち出したり、見たことを誰かに喋ったわけじゃないんだぜ。
We didn't steal anything or take anything out, and we didn't tell anyone that we looked, right? I was already regretting having committed such a wrong. Even so, was it really so bad? That Tomitake-san and Takano-san deserved such cruel deaths?
第一、俺はあんなの見ても全然面白くなかったし、
Besides, I didn't care about anything I saw in there at all.
高野さんが見て一人で大喜びしてただけだろ。
Takano-san was the only one getting so happy over it, wasn't she?
悪いのは高野さんだけだよ。
Takano-san was the only one at fault.
俺は全然関係ないぜ。
I don't have anything to do with this.
興味もないし関係ないし、あの中にあったものだって知ったことじゃない。
I'm not interested, I'm not involved, and I don't give a shit about what was in there. I knew saying so wouldn't solve anything. I could feel myself, my cold self, in the innermost depths of my heart, disgusted at my pointless howling. However, my emotions had broken through the dam, and I couldn't stop them anymore.
俺はもともと興味なんか全然なかったんだ。
I didn't have any interest in any of this from the start, damn it!
リカちゃんの演舞を見ていたかっただけなんだ。
All I wanted to do was watch Rika-chan's performance.
それをシオンが勝手に連れ出したんじゃないか。
You were the one who pulled me away from that, weren't you, Shion?
あの二人が泥棒しようが相引きしようがしたことじゃない。
I don't give a rat's ass whether those two were trying to steal something or try to meet up secretly or whatever.
そうだよ。そもそもシオンが中に入ろうって言い出したんだ。
That's right. You're the one who made me go in there in the first place, Shion.
ケイちゃんは見ておく必要があるとかなんとか思わせぶりなことを言って中に引き込んだんだ。
You were all, Key-chan, you need to see what's inside, and you convinced me, and then you pulled me in.
どうしてくれるんだよ。
Why the hell did you do that?
俺は全然関係ないんだぞ。
I didn't have anything to do with this.
どうすんだよ。
What will you do?
どうすんだよ。
What are you going to do, damn it?
どうやって責任を取ってくれるんだよ。
How are you going to take responsibility for this?
え
Huh?
おい、聞いてる。あ、
Hey, are you listening? Click. Without any warning, the phone cut off with the soft sound of receiver being slammed down. Shion was just as terrified as I was. I just said some really self-centered things. My riled up emotions disappeared as if they had never existed. In their place surged waves of deep regret at having run my mouth so irresponsibly. I could try to call out Shion's name from beyond the disconnected phone, but it was too late. What have I done? Shion was only trying to tell me as much as she could about this thing about to descend upon us. As for me, I could only whine like a child about it. I went to call her back, but then remembered she lived in Okinomiya. I didn't know her phone number. Since I declared to Mion that I hadn't seen Shion last night, I couldn't just call Mion and ask her for Shion's phone number. I was too scared. Couldn't even call her back. I was stricken with hopeless regret. I returned the receiver to its stand, and I simply prayed that Shion would call me back again. Please, Shion. Calm down. Call me again. Ring, 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 ring. She's calling again. Hello? This is Mybra. I swept up the receiver as though it wouldn't go through if I didn't grab it at that exact moment.
前原さんのお宅でしょうか。
Is this the Mybra residence?
夜分遅くに失礼いたします。
Excuse me for the late call.
君吉と申します。
I'm Kimiyoshi.
ご主人様でいらっしゃいますか。
Is this the head of the household? It was the voice of a girl who clearly wasn't Shion. Who's Kimiyoshi? All my hopes rushed out of me.
いえ、違いますけど。
No, it isn't.
親父に用なら呼んできます。
If you need Dad, I'll go call him. I went to put the receiver back down, but this caller stopped me hurriedly.
あ、いえいえ、お忙しければ結構なんです。
Oh, no. If he's busy, then it's fine.
実は恐縮なんですが、うちのおじいちゃんがお邪魔してませんでしょうか。
This may be a strange question, but is my old man paying you a visit?
いえ、誰も来てませんけど。
This might be a strange question, but is your refrigerator running? No, nobody's here at the moment.
そうですか。
I see.
夜分遅くに申し訳ありませんでした。
Again, I apologize for calling you so late at night.
失礼いたします。
Goodbye. Quack. I don't know who that was, but what if Shion tried to call me while I was on the phone? I thought, bubbling with egotistic anger. Hey, wait. Give it a break, Kichi, my bro. These are the selfish emotions that made Shion mad at me, aren't they? The more I thought about it, though, the more I thought that Shion had given up hope in the short time since we had our conversation. Didn't want to call anymore. Calm yourself, Kichi, my bro. If Shion does call again, then first apologize in a calm voice. If you do that, then Shion should understand. However, no matter how long I waited, the phone didn't ring again that night. Alright, so he freaked out. He panicked. He freaked out. He took it out on Shion. She was maybe just trying to give him the good old heads up. But he's like, no, you know what I can do right now? I can freak on the phone and play the blame game. When I'm the shitty friend. Not me personally, but Ketchy saying this. I'm the shitty friend. I'm the one who was distracted by the siren's call and didn't watch my friend Rika do her dance and apparently make a mistake. And, you know, lying to my friends constantly. It's her fault! Scrapbook time. I think we've established this is blonde-haired lady's scrapbook then. I think it was pretty clearly established at the last stream. Because she had a scrapbook thing she was referencing to, and then the point of view seems to be very much from her perspective of being all interested in these olden stories and myths. Not sure about that. Maybe I'm just wrong. I could be very wrong too. Let's when I talk so confidently. How are his parents not hearing him scream? I also was wondering that. He was like, hey, I'm gonna take the cordless phone upstairs to not wake my parents, and then proceed to scream. Although, who knows? I don't know the layout of this house. I already think I mentioned way earlier in the series where I was like, the dimensions of the house seem weird to me. Anyway, the significance of Watanagashi. Watanagashi, a festival for hunting for sacrifices and feasting on them. While the festival itself is remarkable, it has come to be considered a form of entertainment as well. Perhaps it was because of the disparity between being both an egregious act and a form of entertainment that the perpetrators began to believe themselves transcendent. However, I found some very interesting literature that appears to raise questions about that explanation. As with most oral traditions, it's not easily swallowed, but it does mention a few things that spark my interest. According to this literature, even the residents of Onigafuchi village felt fear towards this ritual. Women and children would grow pale and tremble, and those of weak constitution would vomit, but it said that the feast, the dissection, was an obligatory viewing. This is an extremely curious tale. Until now, I thought that the residents of Onigafuchi village were fascinated by the Watanagashi ritual. They looked down on those vulgar barbaric humans, cut them open like fish, and by eating them, they reaffirmed their own holiness. At least, that's what I thought. However, if what the villagers gained from this ritual was not fascination, but fear, then that would suggest the ritual meant something entirely different. There's a possibility that the executions were meant as warnings, encouraging the villagers to strictly follow religious precepts created by those with power for their own convenience. Onigafuchi village has been effectively ruled over by 3 old families, called the Three Families. Without investigating the three families, I probably won't get any closer to the truth of Onigafuchi Village. Oh. I was about to say, well, at the very least, the journal or scrapbook seems very, written by the perspective of, like, an outsider to the village. This very much could be, like, Oishi or, like, Oishi, adjacent people. Person. At the very least, from an outsider. I'm trying to understand it better. Credits to the people that made the plan. There was a very infamous... I'll come out and say, there was an infamous moment during my playthrough of Umineko where I was talking about a very particular room that then pertained to a certain riddle that I then got really shit on very heavily just because I was bringing up the point that, technically speaking, we didn't know the dimensions of a certain room and how long it would take to get through a room. I'm kind of being vague because I don't want to go over the whole thing. But, like, as at least spoiler-wise. But, like, I was like, during the riddle, I was like, we don't know how long or big a certain room is. So, like, how could a riddle take into account the dimensions of a room and how long it takes to walk through a room to carry a thing? It was a whole big thing. And I remember people laughing at me. But I thought I was making a ton of sense when I was doing it. So, I'm just putting it out there. I'm still, to this day, very bitter about some of the riddles that I had to participate in when it comes to Umineko. So, just putting that out there. Anyway, the three families. The three families refers to the three old families who effectively came to rule Onigafuchi Village. To break it down, there was the Kimiyoshi family, the Furude family, and the Sonozaki family, and each of them still exists today. I faintly remember that, but I do remember the boat guy backlash. Yeah, the boat guy thing, that's another thing. That's another thing I shouldn't have gotten backlash on. Honestly, dude. Don't even get me started. Alright, though they don't have as much control as they did in the remote past, they still held considerable influence today. The three families are considered by legend to be those in whom the blood of the swamp demons runs the thickest. Kimiyoshi family. The Kimiyoshi family appears to have held great power as a head of the three families, but it doesn't have that kind of leadership today. Current mayor of the village, Kishiro Kimiyoshi, is from this family. Wait, Kimiyoshi. So that's going to be then who he had got that call from there at the end as like a tease. Head of the three families, it doesn't have that kind of leadership today. Okay. I feel another sneeze coming. Sorry. Ugh, disgusting. Excuse me. Alright, the fact that members of the Kimiyoshi family are elected as mayor every generation is thought to be a remnant of the old system. Thank you. Boat guy, you mean Kawabata? Love that guy. I wonder what he thinks of him. Was that? Yeah, I think that was his name. I don't remember exactly. That's how, apparently lowly I think of boat guy. I don't remember his name, but that sounds right. Of course, as no rival candidates appear, doesn't change the fact that the Kimiyoshi family holds the mayoral office, even though popular elections in the post-war era. The Furude family. The center of the village's faith seems, since ancient times, the Furude clan has guarded the sole shrine dedicated to Oishiro-sama. I said Oishi. Damn, I'm having problems reading tonight. They were worshipped as the only people to represent the voice of Oishiro-sama for a long time, but the family branched off after the war and lost most of its power. Now consists of only the main house. The main house, as well, presently consists of only one daughter, Rika Furude, so the lineage may end in this generation. There it appears an old tradition of honoring females. Yeah, I'm just bad at reading. There's apparently an old tradition of honoring females of the Furude family, so the only daughter, Rika, is the subject of much respect among the elderly of the village. The Sonozaki family. It said that this family had a certain police-like role of protecting the religious percepts of Onigafuchi Village. Of the three families, their relatively weak position can be seen from me putting them here last. course, today the Sonozaki family is flourishing. The state of affairs among the three families has completely reversed. Even now, one could say that they are in control of Hinamizawa. The three families conferring with each other is similar in the old way. Current head of the Sonozaki family, Oryu, essentially decides all the goings-on in the village by herself. Once we get through this last tip, we may only go like another, with how poorly I'm reading, maybe like another hour after we do a BRB, but we'll see. It might not be a clean end to the night.
夜分遅くに失礼いたします。君吉と申しますが、ご主人でいらっしゃいますか?
Ah, I get to do my old guy voice. Okay. Excuse me for the late call. I'm Kimiyoshi. Is this the head of the household?
はい。
Yes.
いえいえ、その説は本当にありがとうございます。
No, not at all. Thank you very much for that.
ええ、それでですね。
Yes, well, you see.
こんな時間に大変恐縮なのですが。
I do apologize for calling at this hour.
うちのおじいちゃんがお邪魔してないかと思いまして。
I was wondering if our old man was visiting you at the moment. So why is another Kimiyoshi?
ですよね。はい。
So many thoughts running through my head. You've got that right. Yes.
こんな時間に申し訳ありませんでした。
Once again.
それでは失礼いたします。
I'm very sorry for calling so late.
ごめんください。
Goodbye. Click.
どうだい？ダメ？
So, no good?
参ったな。どんなに熱中しても電話くらいはしてくれる人なんだけれどな。
No, I'm not sure what to do. He may be passionate about it, but he always at least gives us a call.
囲碁の人の家は全部電話したんでしょ？
You called everyone he plays Go with, didn't you? Bring.
はい、君吉です。
Hello, this is Kimiyoshi.
園崎です。どうです？
This is Sonozaki. How did it go?
村長さんは見つかりましたか？
Have you found the mayor?
ああ、ミオンちゃんか。片っ端から電話をかけてみたけど、ダメだよ。
Oh, Mion-chan. I called everyone I could think of, but I came up with nothing.
見つからないんだ。
We can't find him.
参ったな。
What do I do?
どこで油を売ってるのかな。
Where could he be idling about?
こっちでも心当たりにいろいろと問い合わせましたけど、全然。
I put a word in with a bunch of people who might have had an idea, but nobody did.
ばっちゃんにも相談したんですが、青年団を招集して探し回った方がいいだろうということです。
I asked Nana about it, and she said she could get with the men of the village together to search for him.
こんな時間にかい。それに別に行方不明になったと決まったわけでもないし。
At this hour, I mean, it's not like he's definitely gone missing.
綿流しの直後ですから、少し慎重に扱った方がいいとのことです。
Watanagashi just happened. She thinks we should be a little more cautious.
それでも見つからないなら、明朝警察に通報しましょう。
If we still can't find him, then we'll notify the police tomorrow morning.
見つかる見つからないは別にして、痛くない腹を探られない方がいいでしょうから。
Whether or not we find him, though, we should refrain from making any false accusations.
おりょうさんがそう言ったのかい。
Or your son said that?
はい。直接声を聞かないと信用できないなら、電話先に出させますよ。
Yes. If you can't trust her without hearing her voice, then I can put her on for you.
いえ、わかりました。
No! That's fine, I understand.
青年団を集めて探しましょう。
We'll get the men together and search.
それで見つからなければ、翌朝に警察に通報します。
If we still can't find him, then we will notify police in the morning.
青年団の連絡もよろしくお願いしますね。私もバッチャの代行ということで、そちらに参ります。
She'll leave it to you to organize the men. I'll be there as well, as Nana's representative.
ありがとう。すぐにみんなを集めます。
Thank you. I'll get everyone together immediately.
ええ。では。
Thanks. I'll talk to you later. Alright. So, Mayor missing. They're searching for him. Get me out of there. Okay, I'm gonna throw up a BRB. I'm gonna get water and stuff. Maybe, a quenched throat will assist in reading. I'm trying to find, where did I put it? There we go. We'll go with this. All right, I'll be back shortly, and then we'll be back for another hour or so. Just give me like 5 minutes. Sorry, that was just a misclick. Okay, I'm back. Let me see. Let's probably save, yeah? Save for safety. Perfect. Atop that jump scare. Alright. Let's, yeah, we might not be going super late tonight, if I'm being 100% honest. It's been a long Saturday. But we will, let's try like another hour and try to find like a nice clean break point somewhere within that range. That's what I'm feeling. One of those interstitials about an hour from now would be dope. There was no way I'd be able to sleep. When she hung up the phone like that, I realized for the first time what kind of situation I was in, as well as who the only ally who would support me was. I waited with bated breath for Shion to calm down and call me back. What would I do if the phone rang while I was sound asleep. Oh god, this guy. Oh no, she's gonna call me. Oh, it's almost like portraying it as like, oh, I hope my crush calls me back. But in like the old times when people didn't have cell phones or something. So you're like, oh, what if she calls and I'm asleep and I miss it? Although instead of like a crush type situation, it's more of like a we're in deep shit type situations, you know? No matter how long I waited, however, it never rang. Exhausted, whenever my mind started to wander, I would jolt awake as though I heard the phone ring. Also, this is like almost a parallel to chapter 1, where wasn't there a thing where he couldn't sleep all night because of a situation once shit really started to hit the fan. He didn't sleep all night, and then he goes to school and he was clearly rattled, and then that's where it was like a massively like downhill decline in quality of life for our main protagonist here. It's just a slightly different reason, right? The other one, I think he was like spooked awake all night. And in this one, he was more, at least outwardly, saying, oh shit, I'm in a bad situation, and the only person I could count on, I need her to call me back because I yelled at her and freaked out right before this. Oh yeah, it was the Night of the Needle thing, yeah. That all makes sense. Okay. I was like, I knew, I was like, where was it timeline-wise? Okay. Yes, exhausted, whenever my mind started to wander, I would jolt awake as though I heard the phone ring. In the end, I brought the cordless phone with me into my futon and went to sleep with it in my arms. Though it still didn't amount to anything. Morning came, and by that time, I was pretty sure she wasn't calling back. That was when a fierce drowsiness assailed me. Damn it.
寝ぼけてる場合じゃないぞ、前原圭一。
There's no time for sleep, Keiichi Maibara. I slapped myself in the face a few times. Then, I went to the washroom and washed my face, which was something I usually didn't do. That wasn't enough either, so I even brushed my teeth. After that, I was finally wide awake. When Mom saw how strange I was acting, her eyes went wide.
どうしたの圭一？
What's wrong, Keiichi?
今日はどこかにお出かけでもするの？
Are you going somewhere today?
うん、
Yeah,
学校に。
to school.
圭一くん、なんだか今日も調子悪そう。
Keiichi-kun, you don't look so good today.
やっぱり風邪かな。
Do you have a cold?
風邪じゃなくて寝不足なんだ。
I'm not sick. I just didn't get much sleep.
寝ぼけてわけのわかんないことを言い出したらフォローよろしくな。
If I space out and start talking nonsense, just humor me.
圭一くん、寝ぼけたらどんなこと喋り出すのかな
I wonder what kind of nonsense you'll say. I wonder.
ちょっと楽しみかも。はう。
Now I'm looking forward to it. Ha. I felt utterly shattered. And I still hadn't picked myself back up this morning. And for precisely that reason, Rina's honest smile was a sight for sore eyes.
よ、
Yo,
圭ちゃんにレナ。
what's up, Ki-chan? Rina?
おはよ
Good morning.
う。あれれ
What?
みーちゃんもなんだか寝不足な感じだよ。だよ。
Mi-chan, you look like you didn't get much sleep either. Miana had gone home early yesterday with a hangover, but she didn't look too good this morning either. Her usual cheerfulness was completely buried in shadow.
うん。
Yeah,
寝たの3時ぐらいだからね。
I went to bed at like 3.
眠い。
I'm a little tired.
3時？昨日に続いてか？
3? Right after yesterday?
おいおい、夜更かしにも限度ってもんがあるぞ。
Hey now, you can't keep staying up late.
大方漫画の単行本が面白くなっちゃって一巻から読破してしまったんだろ。
You probably read the first volume of a manga, thought it was interesting, then read the whole entire series, didn't you?
うんうん、俺にも経験があるぞ。
I understand. I've done that before. I joked, trying to shake off my sleepiness. I was trying to be considerate. However, neither Mion nor Rina smiled. In fact, they didn't even pay attention. Rina's expression immediately darkened.
あれ
What?
ひょっとして村長さんのこと
Wait, is it about the mayor?
まだ見つかってないの？
He still hasn't been found?
うん
Nope.
おい、ちょっと待ってくれ。
Hey, wait a minute.
村長さんが見つかってないって何の話だ？
What are you talking about? Can't find the mayor? Even the classroom, which is normally bursting with bright, joking voices, seemed filled with a different sort of murmur today.
おはようございます、ケイチさん。
Good morning, Kichi-san.
聞きました？
Have you heard?
なんだか大変なことになりましたわね。
Looks like something terrible has happened.
俺はその村長さんって人をよく知らないんだが、ジジイなんだろ？
I don't really know this mayor person, but he's an old guy, right?
ボケて徘徊してるだけじゃないのか？
Couldn't he just be wandering around, senile?
村長さんはボケてなんかいませんですわ。
The mayor is certainly not senile.
お習字も教えるし、剣道も教える、はつらつな方でございますの。
He is a sprightly man who can teach both calligraphy and swordsmanship.
僕と同じで、きっとどこかで迷子なのですよ。
He probably got lost somewhere, like me.
迷子いいね。
Lost Rika?
はう、お持ち帰り。
I want to take you home with me. Getting lost is only cute because children like Rina-chan can do it. Rika-chan can do it, not Rina-chan. A worn-out old man getting lost isn't moe in the slightest. While my mind entertained dumb thoughts like that, our teacher arrived. Everyone rushed to their seats.
皆さん、
Good morning,
おはようございます。
everyone. Good morning. The class greeting was normal, but the atmosphere in the room was heavy.
すでに聞いている方もいるかもしれませんが、
Some of you may have already heard.
昨日の夜、村長さんが夜遅くになってもお家に帰ってこなかったのだそうです。
But last night, despite the late hour, the mayor never came home.
皆さんの中で昨日村長さんを見た人はいますか？
Is there anyone here who saw the mayor yesterday? One or two hands went up in silence, and they told her about having seen him. None of it seemed to be vital information, however. Everyone began whispering amongst themselves.
もしも村長さんを見かけた人は大人の人に教えてあげてくださいね。
If anyone has seen the mayor, please tell an adult about it, alright?
それでは授業を始めます。
Now then, let's begin class. After that, the same old lessons began. The rumors, once quieted, blossomed in flowers again at lunchtime. I could hear a few different conversations. They were mostly related to the mayor's disappearance. Summing them all up, I came out with this. Yesterday evening, the mayor went to a meeting at the Shrine's assembly hall. The meeting ended after the sun had fully set and everyone left. The elder's house was a bit far from the center of Hinamizawa. It was already late, and Hinamizawa didn't have a lot of lights outside. Nobody saw the mayor after the meeting. However, because he would have been hungry, he wouldn't have taken any side trips. He would have gone straight home. However, no matter how long his family waited, he never returned. Some thought there might have been an accident. They left no stone unturned. They searched from the irrigation channels to the water wells and even in the rice paddies, but they couldn't find him. Of course, there was a limit to how far they could search in the middle of the night. Police were going to wait for daylight, then have the young men of the town help search. If after all that they still didn't find him, they were apparently even going to go looking in the mountains. Even now, at this moment, the adults were probably all searching for him. The more they searched in vain, and the more time passed, the only thing that came to mind was the curse. The rumors of Onekakushi, of the demoning away. Had he become this year's sacrifice to Oyashiro-sama's curse, which had recently been occurring every year? Occupying. That scary possibility, which everybody thought about but nobody could say aloud, was slowly but surely spreading throughout the village. Was he demoned away and offered as a sacrifice to quell Oyashiro-sama's anger? My classmates were whispering to each other that the curse didn't happen this year, so there shouldn't have been any sacrifices. I, on the other hand, I knew. The curse did happen again this year, and there were 2 people that died. This may sound strange, but I hadn't exactly thought the elder would be the one to go missing. My reason was clear. Shion and I should have been a higher priority than him. four of us were thieves that broke the taboo and set foot into the sacred ritual storehouse. If Tomotage-san and Takano-san had suffered mysterious deaths, then it should have been me, Mai, and Shion. Me, it's because I said me, and then I had to say Mai, and then my mind went Mai, and then I said Shion's, that's her new name. Shion's turn next.
今度こそ俺かシオンの番なのにな。
This time should have been Shion and me, eh? I laughed painfully to myself. I yelled at Shion over the phone that I didn't want to end up in such a terrifying situation, but now that someone other than me had disappeared, I can only think that I should have been the first to go. Onigafuchi, the bottomless swamp, said to have been the place where they drowned sacrifices long ago. Just as it ran through my thoughts, the villagers must have also considered the swamp. Maybe police drivers were plumbing its depths even now. Divers, not drivers. They probably wouldn't find anyone. Not a single missing person has ever been found. I'd always suspected Onigafuchi, but not once have they ever turned up a corpse from it. After all, it was a devilish, bottomless swamp from which no one who sinks can ever return. I could hear someone telling their friend that in the classroom.
そういえば、サトシさんがいなくなったのも去年の今頃だったね。
Now that you mention it, Satoshi-san, he left around this time last year, didn't he? Huh? Satoshi. I've heard that name before. He was... right. He disappeared because of last year's curse. The conversation was happening in the seat next to me, so I could hear it clearly.
サトシさんの時も確かこんな風に村中で探したんじゃなかったっけ？
Didn't we search the whole village like this for Satoshi-san too?
あれも見つからなかったんだよね。
We didn't find him either.
あれって結局どうなったんだっけ？
What did we decide that was?
確か鬼隠しじゃなかったんだよね。
A demoning away, right?
うん。
Yeah.
貯金を全部下ろして家出しちゃったんだって聞いたよ。
I heard he withdrew all its savings and ran away from home.
警察の人が名古屋駅で新幹線に乗るところを見た人がいるとか言ってたもん。
Someone from the police said there was someone who saw him get on the bullet train at Nagayo Station. Ran away, huh? I wasn't that interested in the reason, which seemed understandable in this case. Everyone else who disappeared had their own reasons too. Either they were still on the run because they were criminals, or they were a corpse that couldn't be found. It's not like any of them suddenly disappeared into thin air for no reason. But they disappeared. Someone disappeared whenever the curse took life, as if by design. They may have had various understandable reasons, but they still disappeared. From that point of view, it really might have been a demoning away this time. The mayor's disappearance was the first such incident without a clear reason behind it. Of course, coming to that realization didn't help to resolve anything.
今日は味の加減を間違えちゃったみたいだね。
It looks like I messed up the seasoning today. Thanks, Rena. Back up.
ごめん。
Sorry. Normally, Rena's lunch would have been devoured immediately, but today, there was still a ton left. That wasn't because Rena's lunch didn't taste good or anything, though.
そんなことありませんよ。
Back up! That isn't the case.
レナさんのお弁当は今日もとっても美味でしたよ。
Your lunch today is as delicious as always. Satoko dips her chopsticks into Rena's bento box and pulls bits of food out one after the other.
おいしいおいしい。
Yes, delicious indeed.
今日も格別でしたよ。
Today in particular, in fact.
あれ、それかぼちゃのコロッケだよ。
Huh? You know those are pumpkin croquettes, right?
大丈夫？
Are you okay? Yes.
レナさんのかぼちゃならとっても美味しいですわ。
If it's your pumpkin, then it's delicious. Does Satsuko dislike pumpkin? Regardless, she forced herself to smile and shoved more into her mouth. Her mouth. Everyone knew. Nobody's lunch tasted very good today. Satsuko kept shoveling it down, repeating her remark on how good it was.
そんなにうまいなら俺もいただかないとな。このままじゃ全部サトコに食われちまう。
If it's that good, then guess I gotta have some too. Satsuko's gonna eat it all if we let her.
も美味しいので、ぜひ圭一さんにも召し上がってほしいですわね。
It's just so good. So I would certainly like if Kechi-san were to eat some as well.
たまには俺も年上らしい寛大さを見せないとな。
Well, sometimes I have to show my adult generosity, right?
よし、遠慮するな。
Okay. Don't hold back on my account.
今日は俺の分まで食ってよし。
Eat enough for the both of us today.
うわ
Fua. She really, really hated pumpkin, didn't she? That made it all the more touching to see Satoko's own brand of generosity. I grabbed her head and started stroking it. Satoko, in somewhat exaggerated fashion, was bawling, tears streaming down her face.
嘘だよ。
No way.
そんなにうまいものを譲るほど大人にはなれないよ。
You'll never grow up if you give away such good food.
レナも食え。
Rina, you eat too.
俺のは夕べのおでんの残り物だが、おでんは一晩経ってからがうまいんだぜ。
I only have leftover vegetable stew, but tastes great after having sat overnight. Yeah!
お大根が綺麗な色に透き通ってて美味しそう。
The daikon radish has such a pretty color going through it. Looks delicious.
じゃあいただこうかな。
I guess I'll have some then. Rina reached out with her chopsticks, and at last, the usual lunchtime atmosphere began to return. I was only at our desks, however. The dark tales of Oyashiro-sama's curse, which had reoccurred for 5 years in a row, didn't cease. The whole classroom remained stuck in this somber mood. Oyashiro-sama's curse had happened for 5 years straight. Everyone had wanted the previous year to be the last. What was Oyashiro-sama's curse anyway? They were going to build a dam in Hinamazawa. The people building it were bad, so they were cursed. I would admit that much. Still, the dam project was frozen years ago, wasn't it? So why was the curse stubbornly persisting? I hit myself on the cheeks to perk myself back up. Everyone was trying so hard to brighten the mood. Couldn't go straight back to thinking about the curse like that. I forced a grim story out of my head. Driving Oyashiro-sama's curse out of my thoughts was actually a good idea. In the end, that meant I would also be driving away the most terrifying thought of all, that I could be the curse's next target.
しかし、ミオンは遅いな。
Mion's taken a while, isn't she?
あいつのお手洗いってこんなに長いのか？
How long does it take to wash your hands? Mion had said she was going to wash her hands and left, and she hadn't come back yet. Now the thing is, I mean, I don't know if it's trying to make us think this way or not, but if we go off the previous last night's conversation that he and Shion had, that, oh, 2 people died to the curse, maybe that means then 2 people would be demoned away. And then we have the mayor seemingly disappearing, maybe potentially because of the curse. Then, in theory, then you would only need 1 more person, right? Okay, then it's like, oh no, is it gonna be me or Shion? I choose Shion. Take her away from me. Rina says, ah ha ha ha.
多分どっかでお昼寝してるんだと思う。
She's probably taking a little afternoon nap somewhere.
夕べはきっと遅くまで村長さんを探すお手伝いをしてたんだと思うから。
I think she was up pretty late last night looking for the mayor after all. I smiled wryly and let out a sigh. Today was no good. However, much we tried to lighten the mood, things always came back to the mayor. It was just a no good day. I had just transferred here recently, so the shock of a curse happening 5 years running was an unimaginably big one. Maybe I do need to appreciate that.
村長さんはね、ちっちゃかった頃、みーちゃんのことをすごく可愛がってくれたんだって。
When Michan was really little, the mayor would always spoil her.
いたずら盛りのみーちゃんをすごく可愛がってくれたって。
When she was going through her prankster phase, he loved her like his own daughter.
よく話してたな。
She's told me that often. I see. Mion was in shock too. Someone disappearing at all because of a curse was a very scary thing. If the sacrifice was someone you knew, though, then the shock must be 100 times worse. Satoko, as if she'd come to the same conclusion, bit her lower lip and looked downward.
そういえばリカちゃんも遅いな。
Oh, Riki-chan's taken a while too.
ひょっとしてリカちゃんも仲良くお昼寝か？
Maybe they're taking a nice afternoon nap together.
リカはそんなに遅くまではお付き合いしませんでしたわ。
Rika wasn't out that late.
リカがあくびをしたら皆さんみんなしておやすみなさいませおやすみなさいませって。
As soon as she yawned, everyone gathered around her and started saying good night, good night. Now that she mentioned it, there were a lot of old people rubbing their prayer beads in fervent gratitude towards Rika-chan during the festival, too. An image of the indulgent elderly came to mind. Had Rika-chan discovered a way to get herself to be pampered like that?
リカちゃんって何気に年寄りのアイドルだな。
Is there a reason that old people treat Rika-chan like an idiot? Or an
理想の孫娘像ってやつなのか？
That's not an idiot. An idol? And an idiot as well. Is she their ideal image of a granddaughter or something? Ah ha ha ha.
そんなの知らない。
I don't know anything about that.
でもリカちゃんのあくびなら見てみたい。
But I want to see Rika-chan yawning.
きっとね、ふわーって。
It's probably all like, Fua.
はう、お持ち帰り。
Ha, I want to take her home.
そんなに可愛いとも思いませんけど。
I don't personally think it's that cute.
ふわーって喉の奥まで覗けるくらいの大あくびでしたよ。
It's more of a gwa, and she opens her mouth really wide so you can see the back of her throat.
リカちゃんの大あくび。はう。
Rika-chan's giant yawn. Rina's handy at times like these. I finally managed a heartfelt laugh. Oh, right. I'm on day duty today, aren't I? I need to go water the flower garden. The garden is right outside the teacher's lounge, too, so they can immediately tell if you don't do it right.
リカちゃんのだけじゃなく、さとこちゃんのも可愛いと思うわ。
I think Satoko-chan is cute. Not only Rika-chan.
大あくび。
Giant yawn. Get.
窒息。
Oh no, she's being squeezed to death. Can't breathe.
ちらっと見えた。可愛いの見えた。
I shouldn't be making these sounds. I got a glimpse. It was so cute.
さとこちゃんのあくびも可愛い。お持ち帰り。
Satoko-chan's is cute too. I'm gonna take you home. Arena was strangling Satoko. Didn't think that counts as yawning. She was gasping for air, not yawning. You know, Rina is, I can't say it out loud, but she's a notorious censored, isn't she? Sweat? Huh? Wait. I know I didn't misread that part. All right, let me let me reach. I can't say it. You know, Rina is ... I can't say it out loud. ... But she's a notorious ... censored, isn't she? Dots sweat in parentheses. Great. Hearing Satoko make a weird noise like a chicken being strangled was kind of hilarious, and I couldn't help but laugh. At some point, the classroom had erupted into laughter too. Maybe Rina was doing it on purpose. Even if she wasn't, this nonsense was a welcome sight. Anyway, let's get over to the flowers while I still have time. Slowly and quietly, lest I destroy the room's newfound peace, I left the classroom. The watering can was hanging up outside the kitchen. This building had originally been an all-male forestry service building, so there was apparently nothing so thoughtful as a garden here before. When they decided to have a school share the space, they built one there as a modest gesture of appreciation. But, well, the flower bed, it was a little longer than you'd expect. It went all around. It went all over the place. It was so big one would need to refill the watering can 5 or 6 times to get it all done. I was doing this together with a kid who was also, thankfully, on day duty today. She was in the lowest grade, though, and a full size smaller than even Rika-chan. Oh, how cute. I couldn't make a kid who would struggle just to lift the full watering can help me with this. If you were placed on day duty with someone who liked this sort of thing, they'd do it all for you, so it'd be cake.
悪態をついても仕方ないな。
No point in blaming her.
諦めて仕事を始めるか。
I give up. I'll just get started. Watering can in hand, just as I was about to leave the building, the old man from the forestry office addressed me.
兄ちゃん、倉庫裏に菜園があるだろ。
Sonny, there's a vegetable garden behind the warehouse, right?
だいぶくたびれかけたぞ。
It's all just about dried up.
あそこにも水をやってあげな。
Water that too, would you? Don't fucking tell me what to do.
ああ、あのカレー菜園ですか。
Oh, you mean that curry vegetable garden?
じゃがいもとか人参とかカレーの具しか栽培してないっていう。
The one with the potatoes and carrots and other things that are only ingredients for curry? It's definitely the personal garden of our curry-loving teacher, but making students responsible for its upkeep is getting them involved in her personal affairs. I couldn't say that to his face, though, so I gave up and decided to carry out my day duties. The sunlight out front was strong. The great chorus of cicadas was strongly underlining how nothing was different today than yesterday. I passed by the classroom, and I don't know how it happened, but Rina and Satoko were in the middle of a huge melee. While I was gone, kids had arranged all the desks in a circle, forming a ring while everyone was cheering them on. Yeah, that's how it should be. Once school ended, we would need to return to reality, where talk of the elders' disappearance would once again be all over the place. I wanted everyone to forget about everything and have fun, just like yesterday, if only while they were at school. In that sense, Satoko's whirling elbow and Rina's backwards flying spin kick made for a pleasant made for a pleasant sight. Even if, as a result, they flipped over my desk. Ah, that's my pencil box. I'll just let it happen today. Don't destroy my stuff. I set to work, hastily watering everything, wanting nothing more than to be done as soon as possible. That should about do it. No sooner had I thought that than I remembered that I had to water the teacher's curry vegetable garden too.
めんどくさいが、やらないと後でいろいろと不利益なことがありそうな気がする。
That's such a pain, but I have a feeling that'll come back to bite me if I don't. I gave up, filled the can with water again, and headed behind the warehouse. This was a place students didn't like to go. It was always damp here, and you couldn't discard the possibility of slugs and pill bugs being around. So when I ran across her in a place like that, I was surprised. Oh!
Rika-chan ka?
Oh, it's Rika-chan. Not the idiot.
驚かせるなよ。
Don't scare me like that. Rika-chan was just standing there like a puppet, devoid of life. I was the only one who was startled here. Rika-chan didn't even seem to react to my appearance.
Rika-chan?
Rika-chan? Finally, she noticed me. Her expression was clearly abnormal. There was red under her eyes, stained with tears and dirt. There were blades of grass stuck in her hair too, and her clothes looked as though she'd fallen to the ground.
Rika-chan?
Rika-chan?
ひょっとして怪我したのか?
Are you hurt?
転んだとか?
Did you fall?
違うのですよ。
No,
違うのです。
that isn't it. Rika-chan said in the brightest voice she could manage as she rubbed her eyes. She didn't look anywhere near normal though.
何があったんだ?
What happened?
まさか倉庫の屋根の上で昼寝とかしてて落ちたとか?
You weren't sleeping on the storehouse roof and then fall off or anything, did you?
僕のことはいいのです。
Don't worry about me.
それよりも圭一に聞きたいことがあるのです。
I have something I want to ask you, Kichi. Rika-chan walked over and clung to me. At first, I thought she was playing a trick on me. Eventually, however, I realized it was so that I wouldn't run from the question she was about to ask. I shuddered.
俺になんだよ?
What do you want from me? She looked straight into my eyes. Her upturned eyes bored right into me. It was as though they were trying to pull the answer out with my own eyes, without actually asking me the question. It was scary, so I averted my eyes from hers.
圭一?
Kichi?
お祭りの晩に何か悪いことをしましたか?
Did you do something bad on the night of the festival? My body gave a jolt from its very core. Rika-chan, who was clinging to me, might have felt my shiver. A nervous tingle crawled up from my feet, and after going up my back and freezing my entire body, made its way into my brain.
圭一?
Keiichi?
本当に覚えはありませんか?
Do you really not remember? My head began to throb. I don't understand anything. Mion asked me. Oisha-san asked me. Shion asked me. and now Rika-chan was asking me. We thought nobody knew about what we did last night, but in fact, everyone knew. They all knew, and they came to ask me. Again and again, until I admitted it. When I thought about it, it was pretty clear the whole thing was out in the open. After all, don't Tomotaki-san and Takano-san's death prove it? Keiichi? How should I respond? We never should have entered the Forbidden Storehouse, even though I regret it so much. Was she saying it wasn't enough? However, I had all but decided what I was going to say.
俺もそこが悪いからな。
I'm not exactly a good kid, you know.
悪いことの覚えが多すぎて見当がつかないよ。
I've done lots of bad things, so I can't remember anything specific. Just as I had with all the others, I evaded the question. Rika-chan? I not only evaded the question, but the way you answered it was still very bad. Poor. Rika-chan stared up at me with innocent eyes. Her eyes were so painful that I had to look away. After a few moments of mutual silence, Rika-chan released me.
変なことを聞いてごめんなさいなのです。
Of all the friends, I probably, like I said, wouldn't have lied in the beginning, but lying straight to this little baby Rika would be very difficult. She comes up to you and just like clings onto you and then asks you a question that you already feel guilty about lying. Lie to Rika challenge, impossible. Rika says, I'm sorry for asking you something strange.
忘れてくださいなのですよ。
Please forget about it, she said, smiling her usual smile. Then, tap, 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 she went running off as if nothing had happened. As she retreated in silence, I could feel her accusing me. Dots. More dots.
Rika-chan.
Rika-chan. If she didn't hear my voice, then I was going to give up. However, she heard it. Rika-chan swiveled around and waited for me to continue. I was the one who had questions now. Still, asking any of them could just be a half-assed way of admitting what I did.
Nah, Rika-chan.
Hey, Rika-chan.
はいなのです。
What is it? If everyone knows anyway, then I should be able to at least ask this, right? Why is everyone asking me about the night of the festival? That evening, had I done something that wrong? I felt plenty sorry about it, and I only looked away anyway. I didn't break anything or steal anything. Really. Still, Tomotage-san and Takano-san, they died so miserably. Since those two had come to such an end, there's obviously no way it would forgive only me. Rika-chan cutely tilted her head in confusion and waited for me to say something. If I were to admit to what happened last night, though, she might suddenly do a 180, as if flipping a switch. I don't know if I'm going to be able to perfectly articulate this, but, like, I keep harping on this. Like, even if, again, I truly think there could be a part of this story that's all about, like, the paranoia getting to someone or multiple people when, in all actuality, you're just a shitty friend or a shitty person who's bad at lying and lies all the time and whatever, right? But, like, at the very least, these people, Oishi, Rika, Mion, they ask him, they might not know that he went to the thing, but they could know any part of the story. And at the very least, they probably, maybe, saw him sneaking off with Shion, which doesn't look great. When you know the tensions between Shion and Mion, apparently, allegedly. And then he lied probably to their face, and they could tell. Like I said, I picked it up earlier, or they picked it up earlier when I said, like, Rika here did the dance thing, maybe made a mistake that was bad, and then he was like, he said a thing, it was like, oh, no mistakes or something, and they're like, what are you talking about? Oh, it's just, it was a whole big thing. But, like, I think at the time they were like, oh, he didn't see the thing. He wasn't paying attention. And we saw him sneak off with maybe Shion, maybe. You know? Bad friend. And now he's paranoid of the worst things happening to him. I'm just rambling. If I were to admit to what happened last night, though, she might suddenly do a 180, as if flipping a switch. That would make sense. Rika-chan was a shrine maiden. She was the least likely to forgive me for breaking the taboo, wasn't she? Upon reflection, wouldn't telling her be more terrifying than telling Mion or Oishi-san? Rika-chan could just give up and leave, couldn't she? She didn't. She only was quietly waiting for me to say it myself. Say it, Ketchumaibara. If you really are sorry, then you should say so. Of course, it's normal to hesitate, given the crazy way Toмотake-san and Takano-san died. Toмотake-san and Takano-san died. When I say their names together, it just blends. A pulping machine called Chaos was grinding up my brain. The juice wrung out of it turned into big droplets of sweat, which began to fall.
Keiichi?
Keiichi? Oh, Rika-chan suddenly straightened up, trying to pat me on the head.
圭一が何を悩んでいるのか、僕にはよくわからないのです。
I don't really understand what you're worried about, Keiichi. I had nothing to say to that. I lowered my head a little so that Rika-chan's palm could reach it. And she just slaps him. She petted me, kind of like one would a cat.
境内の裏を少し行ったところに大きな倉庫があるのをご存知ですか?
The storehouse? No, I know nothing about a storehouse. Do you know about the big storehouse a little way behind the shrine grounds?
祭具殿と言いますです。
It stores the implements we use for rituals. My breath literally stopped. Rika-chan, though, wasn't acting in a coercive way at all.
お祭りの晩、その祭具殿に猫さんが入り込んだのだそうです。
Apparently, on the night of a festival, a cat snuck into the storehouse.
猫?
A cat?
はい。
Yes.
猫さんです。
A cat.
にゃーにゃーなのです。
Meow, meow. Rika-chan knew. She realized I was in fear. I could tell she was desperately trying to choose the right words so that she wouldn't scare me.
猫さんは前から祭具殿の中を探検してみたいと思っていました。
The cat always wanted to explore inside the storehouse, but...
でも僕が意地悪をして中を見せてあげなかったのです。
I was mean to it and never let it go inside.
なので祭りの夜、
So, on the night of the festival,
猫さんは我慢できなくなって中に入ってみましたのです。
the cat couldn't hold itself back any longer and went inside. The cat is clearly supposed to be Takano-san. I was about to say, oh, are we just substituting cat for Takano? Or, wait, was it supposed to be me?
実は中には猫さんが怖がるものがたくさんあったのです。
Inside, there were actually lots of things that scared the cat. Rika-chan made a cute gesture like a ghost was coming out to frighten me.
猫さんはびっくり仰天。
The cat was both terrified and amazed.
一目散に逃げ出してガタガタブルブルニャーニャーで大変なのです。
It ran away as fast as it could. Clatter, clatter, shiver, shiver, meow, meow. It was terrible.
その猫が誰だって言うんだ?
This cat, who are you saying it was?
猫さんは猫さんです。
The cat is a cat.
ニャーニャー。
Meow, meow. Rika-chan still avoids saying it. The cat, though, was without a doubt me.
リカちゃん
Rika-chan,
頼む教えてくれ。
please, tell me.
その猫さんは
The cat,
これからどうしたらいい?
what should it do now? Maybe it was a desperate question to ask. I had sort of admitted to being the cat. Meow,
猫さんは
meow.
猫さんですから、ニャーニャー泣いてるだけで大丈夫ですよ。
The cat is just a cat, so it can just keep meowing and everything will be fine.
大丈夫ってそんないい加減な。
Everything will be fine? That's stupid. Only an idiot would say that.
ニャーニャー 鳴いてるだけではダメなのですか？
Shouldn't it just keep meowing? Jeez, Rika-chan and I have put together an entire conversation using cat as a code word. I didn't say it directly, but I had already admitted it. I didn't want to end up like those two. I didn't want to be a sacrifice, like Shion said. That's what I thought, so I stubbornly remained silent. But now, that's enough.
泣いてるだけじゃダメなんだ。
It can't just keep meowing.
猫さんがいたずら心で忍び込んだのを
The
犬
dog,
さんが見てたんだよ。
the dog saw the cat making mischief and sneaking inside.
犬さん。
The dog?
そうだ、
That's right.
犬さんなんだ。
It was a dog.
猫さんのところへ代わる代わるやってきて忍び込んだだろうって問いただしてくるんだ。
It keeps coming to the cat and trying to get it to say that it snuck inside. After I said that, Rika-chan's expression clouded over. She was trying to hide it, but I'd already noticed her eyes darkening.
リカちゃん、
Rika-chan. The silence was frightening, so I spurred her on. At that point, Rika-chan grinned.
大丈夫ですよ。
It's alright.
猫さんは僕が守ってあげます。
I'll protect the cat. Huh? I thought for a moment that I'd misheard those words, so dependable they were.
猫さんはとても怖がっていますが、本当はそんなに大変なことではないのです。
The cat is really scared, but it really isn't all that bad.
何匹かの犬さんがきっと勘違いしてるだけなのだと思います。
I think all the dogs are just misunderstanding.
そんなに大変なことじゃないって。
It's not all that bad?
猫さんの心配しすぎなのです。
The cat is worrying too much.
僕がきっと何とかしてあげますですよ。
I'll do something about it for sure. Rika-chan will do something about it. I don't even know left from right at the moment, so Rika-chan didn't look all that dependable.
ちょっと大変ですけど、頑張りますですよ。
It might be hard, but I'll do my best.
ファイト、オーなのです。
Go for it! Yay! She clenched her fist and stuck it in the air. Rika-chan said that the cat can just keep meowing. She said to leave it all to her. Is that really all it took to resolve this whole thing?
本当にリカちゃんで大丈夫なのか？
Will you really be alright, Rika-chan?
僕が頑張らないと、犬さんも大変なことになってしまうかもしれないのです。
If I don't do my best, then something bad could happen to the dogs too. I had no idea what Rika-chan was talking about anymore. She had been talking to me under the assumption that I was aware of certain things. So at first, I understood her. Around the middle, though, I stopped understanding anything. However, one thing I did know was to not worry and to leave it to her. Rika-chan straightened up once again, patted me on the head, and smiled. I was so moved by that reassuring feeling that I couldn't help but start to cry.
ごめん。
I'm sorry.
猫さんも本当にちょっとしたいたずらのつもりだったんだ。
The cat, it really was just a little bit of mischief.
こんなことになるなんて全然。
It didn't think any of this would.
猫さんは臆病すぎです。
It's too much of a scaredy cat.
だから見せたくなかったのです。
That's why I should never have seen the storehouse. She was right. It was far too shocking for someone to see based on a little bit of interest alone. That's why they made it so difficult to look at in the first place, wasn't it?
リカちゃん、
Rika-chan,
その猫さんはどうなるんだろう。
what will happen to the cat?
忍び込んだ2匹の猫さんがその
The subtlety is so gone. Two of the cats that snuck in, well, that night I'd heard Tomotage-san and Takano-san's deaths were being kept a secret. Rika-chan might not have known about it.
富武と高野ですか？
Tomitake and Takano? I gave a start at the sudden mention of actual names. Thought it's weird to do that at this point.
忘れると良いのです。
You should forget about them. Thwip. Thwip. my spine froze again. The sound of my spine freezing. Thwip. Forgot?
はい
Forget? Yes.
あの二人のことを思い出すことは圭一にとって良くないことなのです。
It won't do any good to remember those two, Kitchi.
考えれば考えるほど怖くなるだけです。
The more you think about it, the scarier it'll get. Now, honestly, Rika tells me to forget about those two weirdos. Easy. I will forget them so quick. The weird guy with the camera, and blonde lady who just, I just think has so many problems with her. She's clearly messed up in the head in some shape or fashion.
だから早く忘れた方がいいのです。
So you should forget about them as soon as possible. She said something so enormously terrifying, without letting the smile on her face waver at all.
どこで聞いたかわかりませんが、きれいさっぱりお風呂でゴシゴシするみたいに忘れちゃうと良いのですよ。
I don't know where you heard about it from, but you should forget everything. Make your mind as clean as a scrub bathtub.
忘れるって言ったって、リカちゃんは知ってるんだろう。
Forget? Rika-chan, you know, don't you?
あの二人がどういう死に方を。
You know how those two died?
どんな死に方をしても、それは圭一とは関係のないことなのです。
No matter how they died, it has nothing to do with you, Kitchi. Oh, she's going into the Shadow Realm. Rika declared this in a flat voice. Nothing to do with me. So forget about it. The girl before me, she was innocent and lovable, and even seemed trustworthy, but suddenly she took on another dimension. Don't get involved with their deaths. I'll help you, Kitchi. Those two contradictory statements twisted and distorted my image of the girl in front of me.
シオンは
What about Shion?
あいつはどうなるんだ。
What all happened to her? It might have been dangerous to mention Shion's name, but I couldn't stop myself from asking. Rika-chan saw through everything anyway. There was no way I was going to fool her or keep anything from her at this point.
姉妹猫の妹ですか？
The younger of the sister cats?
にゃーにゃー。
Meow, meow.
そうだ。
Yeah,
妹猫だ。
the little sister cat. Rika-chan appeared to think upon this for a moment. It was hard for me to endure even this momentary silence.
姉猫は怒ってます。
The big sister cat is angry.
妹猫が悪いことをしたので、とても怒ってます。
The little sister cat did something bad, so she's really mad.
姉猫って。
The big sister cat? That could only mean Mion. I recall being questioned by her yesterday.
圭一、
Kitchi?
姉猫はとても機嫌が悪いです。
The big sister cat is not in a good mood at all.
しばらくの間、そっとしてあげてほしいなのです。
I think we should leave her alone for a while. Not in a good mood. Those words sent a shiver through me. Mion was mad. She was mad that we entered the ritual storehouse.
今日から部活はなしにしましょう。
And then lied about it? Let's not forget, Kitchi. And you're a bad liar. I hate hammering the same point over and over again. But part of me is like, yeah, you did the bad thing. And then you double down on the bad thing multiple times to multiple people in a poor fashion. And I think that's more the sin at this point. How dare you lie to Mion? How dare you lie to this face of Rika? Rika says, let's stop having club from now on. Fuck around squared, find out sextupled. That's good. Kish says, huh?
なんでだよ。
Why?
そっとしてあげてほしいからなのです。
I think we should leave her alone. Rika-chan ended her sentence with such force that I couldn't say anything in response. Hey, Kechimabara. Don't disobey Rika-chan right now. She's the only one who said she'll help me right now. I'll leave things to her. I'll leave things to her just as she said to. I mean, She even said that the cat should just keep meowing. When Rika tells you to just keep meowing, you fucking just keep meowing. I'll forget everything, like she said. I'll leave everything to her. I'll forget everything about Takano-san and Toмотake-san and what I did that night. Just then, we heard a bell far away, marking the end of our lunch break.
じゃあ校舎に戻ろうか。
I guess we should go back to class.
ケイチ
Keiichi? As if she had noticed how miserable I was, about to leave everything to her and flee a scene, Rika-chan called out to stop me.
勘違いの犬さんが猫さんに噛みつこうとしたら知らせてくださいね。
If the misunderstanding dog comes to try and bite the cat, please tell me, okay? Now, this goes back into the previous discussion about, like, me, like, who do I trust the most out of the friend group and everything, and I was pretty firmly standing on, like, Mion. She's great. Great character. And then I think I was, like, Rika below that. This is good for him, because if he's got Mion, you know, on his tail, to keep the metaphor going, and then Rika comes to you, and she's like, hey, if something bad starts happening, you let me know. I'd be like, you know what, Rika? I put my faith in you implicitly. 100% of my faith. You will protect me. You will save me. I trust this face. I trust these big eyes. This small frame to protect me from the evil. This bow tie. The misunderstanding dog. She put it in such a cute sounding way, but the true meaning behind those words was an eerie one.
勘違いの犬さんってなんだ？
Who is the misunderstanding dog?
村長を噛んだ犬さんです。
The dog that bit the mayor.
どうして村長を噛んだのか
I don't
僕
know.
には分かりません。
I don't know why it did that.
噛むならいたずら猫さんを先に噛むはずなのにです。
If it was going to bite anyone, it would have been the trickster cat first. The flow of blood in my body felt like it completely stopped for a moment. Rika-chan had admitted it. The sacrifice of that terrible calamity. She admitted that if they were to happen again, it would be Shion or I. This didn't know what was true about the girl standing before me. My suspicion gave way to fear and nearly began to change into anger. Was she a savior who would protect me? Or a stranger trying to capture and kill me for the sake of a horrible tradition? I had no idea what was true.
ごめんなさいなのです。
I'm sorry.
猫さんが怖がっているのにまた怖がるようなことを言ってしまいました。
The cat is already scared, and I said something to scare it even more.
ごめんなさいなのです。
I'm really sorry. Rika-chan bowed so quickly it looked like her head had been pulled downward. Still, she was right. I was cowering. I could distinctly feel my body shaking violently. So when Rika-chan reached her hand out to pat me on the head, I pulled away without thinking.
お
No, he should have like purred. He should have did some cat noises when she pet him on the head. When she went pop pop, she should have been like, or he should have been like. That was my best try. Making like cat noise other than just straight up meowing. I'm making myself cough. Dots.
ごめん。
Rika-chan made a very sad face, but I just couldn't bring myself to put out my head for her again. That day, Rika-chan said she was feeling up for club activities, so she suggested we don't bother. Wait, that day Rika-chan said she wasn't. That makes a big difference. Wasn't feeling up for club activities, so she suggested we don't bother. There's always vetoes when someone doesn't feel up to it. Rina and the others seemed really disappointed. The big sister cat is not in a good mood. I remembered Rika-chan's words and quietly stole a glance at Mion's expression. If I could forget the way she questioned me yesterday, though, her behavior was the same as it always was. Good stuff. In the interest of a cleaner stopping point. Apologies if it seems like it was a quick Higurashi Saturday stream, but we'll call it there. A solid 3 hours. A productive 3 hours. We got to the scene, you're satisfied. Easy to please then. Easy to please. Any closing words before we fully quit out for the night? Like I said, slightly earlier tonight. I'll try. I can't guarantee it. So don't hold me to it. But maybe next Saturday, a week from today, maybe we start just slightly more on the earlier side, so that I can start slightly earlier and then go a bit longer. You know, lengthening the start point, though. I'll have to see, though. That's just a tentative thought. Don't hold me to it. I'm scared of saying it, so don't hold me to it. I don't think I have anything else to say, though. Other than, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for choosing to spend some of your hard-earned time with me. Hope you enjoyed. Stay safe, stay well. Do good, be good. All that jazz. I'll see you. I should be on. I'll probably just do Final Fantasy tomorrow, but obviously Higurashi back next Tuesday. Don't think that's changing. And then, like I said, maybe slightly earlier next Saturday as we read more and more. It always feels weird to end on the in the middle of the section here, but what do they say? C'est la vie. It's that song, C'est la vie. Remember that song? That was a great time. Simpler times. Anyway, I'm gonna listen to C'est la vie when I quit at the end of the stream. Holiday's up. Tuesday's gonna be difficult. The archives will always be there. Archives will always be in existence. Whether you get those pretty immediately on Twitch VODs, YouTube VODs a little later. They're still a little behind, so I apologize about that as well. But those are always made available as slightly ASAP. All right. Until next time, have a nice rest of your night.